Something's going on. Something happened.
We're back. There we go.
Oh, technical difficulties.
There we
Technical difficulties. We got Joey? No moss for
Fuck,
Joey.
Joey. I don't hear a word you're saying, Joey.
Yeah. Don't worry, you will get him.
Hey, Joey, go into Marci's room, and then we'll...
Yeah. Let me see what you got going on.
So check this out. This is episode 21. It's a Podcastrophe. We got a little technical difficulty right now going on with Dags. No worries, we get it all figured out. But we have Marci, who is a licensed psychotherapist. Correct, Marci?
That is correct.
Right? She's joining us. She's giving us her time, which we greatly appreciate because, she's got kids and, stuff like that. A lot of stuff going on. I know she works from home too a lot, right? Right off the computer sometimes. So
yes.
Yeah, it makes things easier. So we got her.
Oh my God, it does.
Yeah, coming in for us. And we're going live, obviously, like true live. So, you can bring in some comments, questions, anything like that. We're going to roll with as well. And then, obviously, we got Dags down there. You guys can see he's ready to fucking hang himself. And then we got our boy, Danny Boy, of course. Right?
Amen, brothers. Like, subscribe, comment. Marci, thank you for coming on.
Very welcome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Joey will get on here in a few minutes.
Eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get him on. There he goes. So listen, I'm just gonna, Marci, when did you get into this? Into psychotherapy?
I've been in this field forever. Yeah. I've been in this field in one shape or form since I was young. My first babysitting job when I was 12 was for that emotional abused kid. So he was really having a lot of issues. So I've always been in this field. But in terms of being licensed, it's been the last 10 years.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But it goes deeper. Stuff like this, when you do feel a field like this, it's deeper than a license. You know what I mean? Like you said,
absolutely.
Yeah.
12 years old and you had that love already in you. Not a lot of people are like that. It's something that you're like born within, I think. I really do.
Well, it's definitely you gotta have the temperament and the insight. You know what I mean? To really look past what people are showing you, because it's usually really not what's happening inside. There's always some stuff happening. And obviously anger and rage is the easiest thing to express. Evolutionarily speaking, that's, for survival, that's numero uno. People don't like to be vulnerable. So that's what you normally see.
Wow.
Question I have, Marci, is now, being we live in an age and a day where telehealth, teleconferencing, Skype, Facebook Live, things like that, do you do a lot of inpatient stuff, or are you mostly online? And if so, is there a difference on your ability to read people like in person versus online, like we are now?
Oh, there's always that. Helping people having eyes on is huge. You know what I mean? And even voice, if nothing else, to get the intonation in the voice, the tone, the specific words they're using, how they're using it. But face to face is very important. Like looking someone in the eye, and especially too, that's my skill set. Like once I put eyes on you, I get a really good sense of you.
You catch a good vibe,
I mean, I could do it with voice too, but yeah, you really need to be all encompassed, because you have such a limited window. You're basically dealing with what they're telling you, and that's it. So unless you get some more insight, external forces or collateral information, it's basically just you and that person. So it's really important you get a sense of them. But in terms of there's lots of different levels. Like I've always worked in crisis. It's only the last 3 or 4 years I've been doing online. I actually work for a coaching company. It's like an international coaching company for parenting stuff and
wow.
Very difficult behaviors with kiddos. And so obviously in crisis, it's very imperative you have eyes on. that
Right.
you're
Right.
Right.
engrossed
Absolutely.
in it. Like I used to go in the community, go work with police officers, for people that, for
Nice.
call outs and all kinds of stuff. So it's really important
Wow.
you be there for this type of thing. Telehealth is good for certain types of things. Like if you're doing
Right.
individual therapy or, in the capacity that I work, it works,
Right.
but
Yeah.
if I were doing something more in depth, even maybe some more in-depth trauma work and stuff, you're going to
Mhm.
want to do that more. You're going
That
to want to be more
one-on-one.
involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And even the
Absolutely
video is
understandable.
is good.
Yep.
It's the second best thing. But
Sure.
the
Hmm.
thing I like about telehealth is that more people have access where they wouldn't
Hmm.
have
Right.
normally if they're remote. There's like nothing around.
Right.
And
Yep.
community mental health is like not that great, especially here in Florida. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
telehealth is like a lifesaver in that regard, big time.
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
better that than have nothing. At least
Yep.
you're
Exactly.
doing that.
It's more
I have
important
somebody
that
in the
they get
fam.
connected. Period. End of
Yes.
story.
Yes. Yes.
Amen to that.
Absolutely. No, I have somebody in the family. I have a couple people in the family actually that did both. They
Mhm.
do the online. You hear us, Joe?
Yeah, still can't
Damn.
hear you.
No, I still
Oh.
can't
Dags,
hear him.
can't hear you, brother.
They do the
Go get
online.
Brendan.
Yeah, go get your kid.
Go
Yeah,
get
Troy, I got
Brendan,
a
see if
kid
he
over
can
there.
help you.
Kids know everything about technology
They
these
know it
days, no
all.
doubt
They
about
Oh
it.
know it
yeah,
all.
Tris can help.
Yep.
There you go. Trish sounds like he's smart. Just the name
Yeah,
itself
he's
sounds
pretty
like he's
good.
smart. Yeah. But yeah, I have family members that did both. They started out
Yeah.
with the online just to get a taste, and then
Yeah.
they like the in person, but then again, they'll do an online as like a filler as well.
Yeah.
Like if they can't get there, at least
Yeah.
they have that. So
Absolutely.
it's got its good. It's got its good. And like you said, if you're gifted with that, like I can read a person as well. I'm pretty good at reading people, like right off the rip. A couple minutes, I pretty much
Yeah.
got you down. And in your field, that's imperative. It's almost like a drug counselor working in a rehab that's never used drugs before. Like how can they're not connected in
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
So
It's
for
almost
you
impossible.
to have that
Yeah.
connect, yeah, exactly. For you to have a connection, whether it be through just a physical vibe or whatever, it's important. I think it's imperative, and I
Yeah,
think
and
it
like in
makes the
terms of
person
connection in general, like
yes,
that in terms of research, everything points to the same thing. If you do not have a connection with the person you're helping, you can't help them.
Right.
Like it's just that simple.
yes,
Or
You
at
gotta.
least effectively anyway. Like
Yeah.
everybody can be helped at some level, but to really help
Yeah.
right,
somebody, you got to know
right,
the person. I don't
You
care
gotta
what
be on their
diagnosis
level.
they've had or what anyone else says or what their
Right.
chart says.
right,
I want to know
right,
you. It doesn't
Right.
right,
matter if you're
Yep.
substance use, if you're this or that. If you don't get to know the person, then you
Yeah.
can't help them, you know?
Yeah.
right,
You gotta be on
right.
their level. You gotta be a lock on their level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So. Yep.
yeah,
absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah.
and
And it's
yeah,
great because, I mean, honestly, I do therapy myself twice a month. I've been going for almost 2 years now. And, me and my therapist that I talk to, uh, we're kind of like that in our relationship where he knows me if something's wrong, if something's
Yep.
off, if I'm not right. But we try to keep it where we're not friends about it, where it's
Yeah,
still professional. So he can help me if help is needed. So, I
exactly.
completely understand where you're coming from, and it's a very noble industry to be in, and it takes a lot, mentally as well as physically to be able to help people like that. So,
yeah,
I
Absolutely.
mean, I applaud you
And
for
you got to
sure.
know yourself
yeah,
and keep yourself in check,
Yeah,
because people, it's a huge thing. We don't react on what's like objectively true, right? It's how we
right.
feel about what's happening or
Yeah,
what someone's telling us.
it's
So
like
you got to
feelings over
really keep yourself
facts.
in
Yeah,
check, exactly, to help someone
yeah.
else because what they're saying could be setting you off or
Hmm.
activating your nervous system and you won't even realize it necessarily at first. So you really
I
got to keep
right,
yourself in check.
guilty. Yeah, I
yeah,
do that sometimes. Guilty.
Everybody does
yes,
that.
Yeah,
Everybody does that.
yes,
No one's immune
that
to that. That's how our nervous
no.
system works.
And
So,
what I'll
yeah,
tell you, what I see a lot of and what I hear a lot of is that, and I don't know if you can speak to this at all in the profession you're in, is that there's a lot of people that look at therapy or therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors as like, oh, I don't need that. That's a joke, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I mean, how do you know that if you've never tried it to see if it would benefit you in any way? So that kind of bothers me in a way where I think if more people understood the benefit behind folks like yourself, therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, psychotherapists, there'd be, I think the world would be a much mellower place for the most part, in my opinion.
No, you're
Yeah.
right on. Because let me tell you, if I had a nickel for everyone that came in my office and was like, I don't need this, I don't like
That's
talking.
right.
And I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you. This feels uncomfortable for the, and then you
That's
keep
why you're
going, and
there.
then boom, they're crying and they're like, oh my God, it feels so much
Right.
better, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. Obviously, in the mainstream, emotion is not something people like to talk about.
No, it's frowned upon.
Especially
Sure.
males, the tougher, because you're taught, no,
Yeah.
emotions, you keep that
That's right.
inside, you keep
That's right.
going. But like having emotional intelligence is
Hmm.
a great skill that a lot of people do not have, and it's
Right.
not
True.
taught. And 90%, I'd venture to say at least 90, at least 80% of everything we do is
Hmm.
based on how we feel. So yeah, we need to get in touch with that a little bit. But you say the
Amen.
word feel to somebody or emotion, they're like, eh,
It's
you
frowned
know,
upon.
Tell
I
you
don't
It's a
what.
shame.
know.
Yeah.
It's
I tell
Yeah.
you
vulnerable. You
what.
feel vulnerable,
Yeah.
you feel
Right.
seen. That's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to
Right.
feel like that.
And
And
yeah.
I'm
And I
I'm a
was
therapist and I feel the same way. I hate being
right.
Yeah.
vulnerable, but you
Right.
got to step outside, you got to do the work, and it's
That's right.
tough. And that's the reason
It's
why a
not
lot of
easy.
people
Yeah.
approach this and they're like, I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about my emotions.
Yeah.
You can't help me. Talking
Absolutely.
doesn't help.
Yeah.
And it's so much more than talking.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like figuring out where the problem lies and then what's the plan? Like, what's the action
Right.
plan? How do we
Right.
unpack all of our beliefs and assumptions and where all of that lies? And it affects
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
everything we do, our relationships,
Mm-hmm.
the choices we make. It's all based on how we feel and our assumptions about
Hmm.
what's happening.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
it's
And
really
getting to
important.
that point is the biggest freaking step. That could take forever to get to
It
that
takes a
first
lot of
layer.
work.
And then you can
Yeah.
work on the plans. But like you said something crazy, man. Like I've been in mental health since 1920. I've been going to rehabs for 20 years. And obviously they touch on mental health every time you go in there.
Oh yeah,
And it's a thing with the emotions. Like you said, you don't show emotions. As men or boys, we were taught boys don't
To
cry,
hide
girls
it, pack it
cry,
away. Yeah.
exactly.
right? Boys
Yep.
don't get scared, they're
Absolutely.
tough. Girls get scared, they're not tough. So you know what?
Exactly.
Like, especially if you're like a Catholic, Irish, Thai, Greek, any one of those guys that are overly, aggressive, usually in the bloodline. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, they call
Um,
like the machoism or whatever. It's like
Right.
yeah,
overly male,
yeah,
but like that's
Yeah.
taught.
yeah,
Our
yeah,
society reinforces that tenfold all the time.
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
So it's like
yeah,
I
no
can't.
individual's fault. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's a whole
yeah,
system. It's the way we
Yeah.
look at everything. So
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah. So I was aware of that probably about 10 years ago because the lady I when you said that I was like I got goosebumps actually because I remember the counselor who said that to me and I was like you know what she's freaking right
Yeah.
and ever since then I mean as I get older dude, I talk about my emotions I'm like
Hmm.
the chick of the relationship of my pet you
Yeah.
know what I
But you're
mean
not. You're
like
just behaving
I don't want to go to
naturally.
bed
Is
angry
all
I
And
that
always say
that's
is.
yo I
Yeah.
don't want to
normal.
go to
It's
bed
so
angry
Yeah.
normal, but
Yep.
we
let's
don't
talk it
treat
out
it that way.
Yeah.
that was my rule. Do not go to bed angry. Let's talk it out. Come on, let's
Yeah.
talk. And
Not
we
to
never,
mention
like me
as
and my ex, we never argued or anything like that. But she
yeah.
wasn't open to talking, and she wasn't comfortable with her emotions.
Yeah.
And there's some
Communication is
underlying
key.
issues there.
You know.
Yeah, and it's
Exactly.
hard.
Communication's
Yeah.
major,
It's one of the hardest
major.
things because everybody themselves speaks a different language. You
Yeah.
know, you
Yes,
use certain words
yes,
in typical ways and you mean something very
Hmm.
specific by that. And then other
yes,
people, same thing. It's the whole mindset that they approach the situation with.
yes,
Everybody's is
yes,
different. But if you step back, and you're mindful, you're really listening to what someone's saying and not feeling what you're assuming is happening, then you're really getting what they're saying. Like, oh, so you mean this? That's something very different than what it felt like at first. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's a huge thing with communication, but it happens with everybody. It's
yeah,
just the
Yeah.
way we communicate the way we think, the way
Yeah.
we feel, not the other
right,
way around. We're not looking at
right,
someone else's language. So
right,
that's super
Yeah.
tough.
right.
Absolutely. I mean,
Now you got to see. Go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
I was going to say, talking to my therapist, I've actually, I was the same way Mick was describing. It's like my dad, when I was a kid, he's like, what are you crying for? This and that.
Mhm.
So
Right,
as I
right,
grew into a man, it was like, what am I crying for? I mean, blah, blah, blah. So now that I'm in the mindset where, it's okay to tap into your inner feelings and things like that. As a man,
You
it
cry.
doesn't make me
Yeah.
any less of a man or anything like that. It's just, I
Makes you
understand
insecure.
how I feel. So when I feel a certain way, I might want to talk to somebody or not, but it gives me a better understanding of myself internally. Uh, and yeah, there are still a lot of guys, males, adults, boys who still think that way. And I mean, it's just, and I think that's a lot of the problem that we see these days because people shy away from that confrontation, or they see it as confrontation. So they think
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't even want to touch that. I'm just going to be tough and the hell with everybody else. But they don't understand that, it's like mental health. I mean, these days more than ever is, in my opinion, more important than it ever has been. Suicide rates, things like that, relationships with parents, family, wives, husbands, children, fathers,
School
mothers.
shootings. School
Oh,
shootings.
everything, dude. I mean, everything
Everything's gone
contributes to it.
so like so
Oh,
south, like not even funny.
we,
Suicide rates are like up 100%,
it's
100% near
ridiculous.
that.
Yeah,
And like we're not getting better, we're getting worse. And
right.
a big part of it is the lack of understanding of what constitutes a problem, number one.
Absolutely.
Or,
Yeah.
just like they have substance use and mental health separated. No,
Mm-hmm.
everything's the same. It's all like what I mean
Right.
when you
Get it,
diagnose
man.
somebody as either like when I worked in crisis, I had to separate the substance use from the mental health. And yeah, there are
Mm-hmm.
some overt things that kind of separate like how or what treatment you get, but
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you are a
Right.
person
Right. Well
and you
said.
have so many facets of how you got here, why you're
Yep.
using
Yeah.
substances. You cannot help somebody if you're just looking at a diagnosis. Like
Yeah.
I had that question all the time when I went for interviews with different companies, either it being substance use because everything's separated. And they're like, why
Yeah.
did you get into substance use? Or why did you get into this? I'm like, I'm not into anything. I'm just into helping
Right.
people. And you
Right.
got to know a person to help them. I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
know, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
pretty much have experience with a lot of personal experience with a lot of different things. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually lucky, not lucky in that way, but I have the insight. So I understand where people are coming from on both ends,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's really one thing. It's just one person with a lot
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. That's what you
Yeah.
have to do. Not a
And
diagnosis.
I think a
Can you
lot
hear
of
me?
Now we
there
got
Ah,
we
I
you.
go,
can
Joey.
hear
Now we got you.
you.
What
Yay.
happened?
Nice.
What happened,
Welcome,
Tagsies?
my
I
brother.
was, you know what had happened the whole time? Turns out I
You were
was
muted.
no, my Bluetooth was hooked up to my earbuds or some shit.
Oh shit,
Oh,
I'm leaving.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. Got you.
And I don't know. I unplugged everything, plugged everything back in. I know this kid fucking touched my shit. All right, he had to. He was sitting back there. I know it.
I
He
don't doubt
he
that.
he, he was sticking things in.
Oh, the
I know
little
he was.
guy? The little guy? The
Joey,
little
so
guy?
far I gotta agree with the wife. I mean, but I'll let you keep going.
She's kicking ass. She's kicking ass,
So
so it's all
Dude,
go
good.
ahead, go.
We can.
Hey,
None of us need to be on here. She could do good
that's
on her
right.
own. Fuck.
Go solo. Yep.
mm-hmm.
Shit.
I have
See,
this
Yep.
like
Unbelievable.
light
we got
face thing and
anybody?
it
We
won't.
got
Oh
anybody
yeah.
asking questions and that yet or nothing?
Yeah, I
Not
think
yet, sir.
Elena asked a question on what are
Did
your
she?
thoughts on ART therapy
Uh,
for trauma? Are you familiar with
Mm.
that at all,
Yeah, that's
Marcy?
that's a fairly new. I hate when they do that because I'm like of the art therapy,
Lazy.
like the actual art therapy, and then that there's lots of different therapies coming out for trauma. But the biggest thing about trauma is that it's body based. So anything like brain spotting, EMDR, DBT, anything that connects your conceptual thought process to your body sensations in your body uh uh, constructs or however you want to say it, like the nervous system and how that gets
Mm-hmm.
activated. That's what helps trauma because trauma is in the body. That's why it gets really confusing. I haven't been trained in art therapy, so I don't know that much about it. I haven't done trauma therapy like that, a one-on-one trauma therapy. I'm basically a generalist in that area and I specialize more in crisis.
Mhm.
So I just know about certain therapies. I deal with very specific. Right now, I'm dealing very specific niche right here with parenting
Right,
and the way we
right,
teaching, but it kind of revolves around the same stuff. Like
right.
most of the therapies, if you really look at it, they all have similar principles that they're pulling from. They just kind of do it in a different way. So yeah, I think it's definitely has a lot of valid techniques in it, But again, it's very similar to, or ties into the other parts because it's body based, like you're kind of revamping how your memories and your connection, how your body responds to it. So basically in trauma, you could be walking down the street and something triggers your body, right? Something that your body knows from the past is a safety concern. Your nervous system gets activated. Okay. Consciously speaking, you don't really know what's happening. You just know you don't feel right. You're feeling anxious all of a sudden, or you're feeling depressed, or you have all these emotions coming up and these uncomfortable sensations, but you have no mental connection to it. So what your conscious mind tries to do is tries to make sense of it. Like, why am I feeling that way? And so it goes like down this rabbit hole. So that's why it's so important to connect the two. It's really just your nervous system activating because of some perceived threat.
Is it similar to like a PTSD type of reaction?
Correct.
Or okay.
Yes. It's just in like, if you think about trauma and the way it overcomes, PTSD is very specific in terms of how it manifests, right? So the lower levels, maybe it's not, like people can have PTSD characteristics, but not have the full blown PTSD experience, right? Could just be like a huge stress experience. Exactly. Right down to like, hey, I get bit by a dog once and I don't remember it, but I'm having like, you know what I'm saying? It could be little. With everything, there's always a continuum, right? With the lowest rung where it's not really, I got this. And then here I'm like, I don't got this, that type of thing. So, and this light's shining right in my face.
Nice.
Yeah. The sun's just
there's a lot to it, like
you're shining in multiple ways.
I don't like
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
this is my every morning with my coffee or tea, whatever I'm drinking it. Marci gives me the lessons.
Joey, I'll tell you.
I know my son was just saying that in the car. He's like, I don't know what I would do without you. He's like, I need you for my mental health.
Joey, I'll tell you, man. Dude, if I was in your position, I would be so mellow throughout the day, all day. It was like, I'm perfect today,
I know.
So good for you, brother.
So mad. Oh my God, dude, you got me mad thinking about that. You're mad walking around the house with that. Should be soothing, dude. She should be.
Oh yeah, that's the only. I gotta go when I get out of control. I just sit down next to her. I'm all right.
Yeah, dude.
It's not because of my.
I got your back.
It's not life, okay? It's not the life I'm having here. It's like just adjusting to like normal life. I think for me.
Her, bro.
Yeah, and normal is different for each and every one of us.
Make it easier for you, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
God
Dustin does. It makes it easier.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
That's all I ever needed.
This woman makes me. I get to do all that shit.
Emotion in her.
Oh yeah, man. I'm a lucky motherfucker.
It was a great explanation, though. Yeah. Thank you. For that, Marci.
You're welcome. I mean, it's like it's so in depth. I'm just trying to find a simple way to describe something.
Listen,
that's basically
mental health, like you said. It touches.
It's so vast.
A ton of things.
Yeah.
Man,
there's so many different topics. There's so many things. I mean, granted, you can narrow down something to like the base foundational constructs, right? But like if you concentrate on your emotional well-being, and regulating yourself and your nervous system, anybody's going to benefit from that, and it's going to up your baseline. You know what I mean? So if you're dealing with something else that maybe is more extreme, you're going to be able to deal with it a lot better. It's about building a good foundation. If you can at least do that, you got this, Yeah. So
awesome. Elena, thanks for the question. That was a good question. Good answer.
Elena.
I mean,
I had it on full. Danny, can you see? You can see her. Can you?
Yeah, I have visibility. I see her questions or anybody else's questions that are being posted.
Can you hit?
Me too.
Can you scroll on?
I don't see anything.
Scroll on them.
Yeah, I could click on them, things like that. Yep.
Okay, so you can scroll on them and put them on the screen.
I
can highlight them too.
Joey,
we can highlight them.
I asked you about that though. Yeah, but I asked you, but you said you don't want to type. You didn't know how to type good and shit.
Yeah, I'm good now though.
To be able to control. I want somebody to be
able
to control the comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to control my own comments sometimes. So I got to be careful.
I hear that.
I got it. I just got to keep it on a small screen.
Yeah. Yep.
Can't get open that door.
Good.
But other than that, I mean, Marci, in your profession, like right now, are you do you do a lot of internet-based stuff, or are you office-based? Do you do a lot of like more adult versus children or families, or what is your
So
main concentration?
right now, I'm just working telehealth online. Um,
Okay.
and it's a coaching company. We do specific things, like we work with neurodivergency, like a specific type of
We're
neurodivergency,
doing like
with family system. So we deal with the whole thing, the whole
Yeah.
family system, the whole dynamic
Yeah,
there.
long story.
So now it's the
Behind.
parents and the kid,
No
because
kidding.
I saw that a lot when I worked in the community mental
My
health.
keys are right there.
Our parents would come in and they just want you to help their kid. But I'm
Yeah.
like, can't just help your kid. Doesn't work
Right.
like that.
You
They
got to
can't
give me some
generalize the skill.
information. Right.
You have to be able, like the parent has to be involved. It has to come from them too. Like it
Yeah.
has to emanate, like you have to be okay as much as you can. I mean, obviously we all have, things we struggle with,
Sure.
but you have to be doing the work too. It can't just be the kid. Like it's a whole system based,
Yeah.
So that's the type of work that I'm doing right now. It's kind of like a new company. It's only been out for like a couple years. So that's what I'm doing right now. Eventually I want to kind of maybe do something on my own, or I want to do something more general. I want to like just help people with their base foundation, help to
Mhm.
give everyone the skills they need to be okay with whatever that comes their way.
General wellness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to reach more people, you know what I mean? Especially the people that don't have the money. Like the program I
Yeah.
work with, you got to have quite a bit of money to be able to partake in that. And I just want to help
Right.
people regardless. I just
Yeah.
don't want to care about that. So I'll
That's
figure it
noble.
out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Mm.
Yep. I can't say
Fucking-
any of us are doing anything as noble as that, what you're doing.
I know how noble it is. It's just like,
Uh,
there's just a need and it's just not being met
Yeah.
at all.
But you're
Unless you
acknowledging
have
it,
Yeah.
money.
Part.
in your
does
best
their part.
capacity. Yeah.
And I
Yep.
feel like
You're
there's a
doing what you can do.
way to
Yep.
help people and not necessarily like I feel like there's a way I could work out helping people for free, but getting like enough money, other ways, whether it
Sure.
be donations from certain places or maybe a grant or something like that, or
Grants. Yep. Absolutely.
pull financial sources in different places, and just see, work it out that way. But that's just going to take a little time. I'm sure I can figure something out.
Sure. Yeah.
Affiliate links,
Mm.
whatever.
Yeah. And before we finish, Mick, Joey, I'm sure you guys are good. If she wants to plug her company or what she does,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's great.
Whatever.
absolutely.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever,
know,
man.
Go right ahead.
Whatever.
Yep.
Do it. Do it.
It's a slow and steady build. We're starting to get some people, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's slow and steady.
Yeah.
Slow and steady. Each video, last one did 75 in like a day and a half, 18
Yeah.
hours. It used to
We're
take 4
getting there.
days to get that, so it's
Yeah.
a slow, steady thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, of course, anything she wants. I
I
mean,
seen you went on. You
absolutely,
did
but
one the other day. You did
solo
one by
one.
yourself. Yeah. And
That's a new project I'm doing.
Yeah, he
That's
got
the
like
attic.
50, 60
Oh, the
views,
attic.
right, Joey?
That's the
Yeah.
attic.
Yeah. It was great.
It was like he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
even need us. Might as well
I
just
was
leave.
no, I need you. I need you.
No, the only reason the only reason he's getting views is 'cause they were coming on to see if we were coming.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
we were going on
click
16
again.
times each.
Exactly. This fucking
Yeah.
guy with his fucking yeah, exactly. No, you know
Hey,
what it
No.
is? Sometimes I get home from work, dude, because third shift. You guys know. Sometimes I'm busy. Sometimes I'm chill. When I'm chill,
Yeah.
I'm at my desk. Well, I shouldn't even say this. I'm not at my desk ever.
Yeah,
But
he's working hard, 100% of the time.
I'm working
That's
all the
right.
time, all the time.
That's right.
But I'll look for like 5-10 minutes. I get cigarette breaks, shit like that. But I'll check shit out. You know what I mean? And then I get
Mhm.
shit in my head, and I'll see a news thing like the Titanic thing, and it just
Yeah.
blows me away, and it burns me. And I'm like, fuck it. You know what? I'm just gonna do like a 10 or 15-minute banger, just me. Like immediate news or whatever that's going like on in my head, and bam, and then keep this as we have it. You know what I'm saying? Just something
Yeah.
simple, short. That's all. But
Yeah,
it
it's
was
great.
cool.
I
It was
think
fun.
I
Yeah, it
think
was
this
cool.
episode is going to be huge because, like
It's
Marci
gonna be
said
great.
earlier, mental
gonna be
health
great.
is like
Yeah.
top of the food chain right now. I mean, it's like,
It really is, though. So many people need help,
yeah.
and they're just not getting it. Like,
Right.
there's so
Yeah.
many people I talk to, even like my son's friends. They're like trying to make an appointment with their therapist. It's like 3 months out. I'm like, that's just
It's
unacceptable.
ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
unacceptable. How the
Some
heck do
people
you get
might
help
not
like that?
survive 3 months, I
Listen,
mean,
they
it's,
used to have.
They need
We
to
used to
have
have to
like
wait
an
for
outlet they
beds.
can use immediately.
absolutely.
Like
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
that's what I want to do.
Kids,
I want to open
kids would
something
try to
up where
get a
people
bed.
can like just get help. You don't have to jump
Yes.
through hoops. You don't have to do
Immediate.
anything. You just get the help. Like that's how
Right.
it
Go
should
through
be.
the fucking.
There's no
Yeah.
reason
Go
it
through the
shouldn't be like that.
insurance.
No,
Make sure you got the
absolutely.
money.
It's such a
or the
Absolutely.
pain. I wouldn't even take
insurance.
insurance because I
Uh-huh.
literally would have to pay. It's like a whole job. Like it's
Uh-huh.
you lose money taking insurance
Yeah.
because and honestly at that point I don't want to jump through hoops and waste money. I'd rather just charge the person
Yeah.
like as low as I can charge, than
Yeah.
go through insurance and deal
Yeah.
with all that.
You got to
You
make
know,
a living,
I'm
of
sure.
course. You know.
I'm
Yeah,
sure you
like
you will make a shit ton of money from insurance if you're like a big,
Yeah.
like multiple
yeah.
people,
To
multiple
do
claims.
that though, to
But if
make
you're an
money
honest,
from
right? I
insurance,
know. You
yeah,
gotta
you
be
need to
crazy
be crooked.
big,
I'm sorry.
crazy
You
Right.
big.
need to
I
do it.
agree.
You need to
Exactly.
build it up where
Exactly.
people are not
100%.
getting the care they need.
That's right.
Yes.
So
That's
that's
right.
why
why you
doctor's
need that.
office, you pay
Yep.
how much and you talk to them for like 5 minutes. Is that
Yep.
real
It's a
care? Do
rotation.
they know
No.
who
Yeah.
you are when you leave the
No.
door? No.
No.
But they
That's
got a
not
Nope.
fucking
care.
fireplace in
But
their
that's what they
office,
have to do to make
and it
money they
looks
want to make.
good. It looks good. They
Yeah.
got that nice office. So
It's
shit,
like
it
Yeah.
must be
yeah.
That's
legit.
not me,
You
man.
know.
I'm not about that. I'm about the
No.
care, man. What's the point of
No.
doing what you're
Yeah.
doing if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't help people? That's not
She
When
helping,
I
cares.
first
you know?
started to try to get clean and I didn't know anything about rehabs or nothing, I would call these places
Yeah.
and I didn't know, and I'm going through detox, like withdrawing,
Yeah.
and I didn't know nothing. Oh, you got to wait 7 days for a bed, 8 days for a bed. And this is when I had
Yep.
insurance or even sliding scale. Sliding scale, I'm sure,
Yep.
Marcy.
Hmm.
Yeah. I used to use that before I got into a career of welding and stuff like that when I was younger, knocking around from construction jobs and just running around, doing stupid shit. Obviously, I didn't have a lot of, insurance or benefits at that time. So I would go sliding scale,
Yep.
sliding scale, you could pretty much always get in almost sometimes quicker because it was the state paying,
Yeah,
guaranteed pay,
exactly.
and they would
Yeah.
jack it up to the highest. Like my stays, like when I finally found a place. It's a shame that I'm saying it's a phenomenal place. The Blake unit. It's called Carrier Clinic. It's right on the border of Princeton. Um, I went there 24 times, 25 times. I would only go there because they were good. The doctor saw you immediately. Some places you'd have to wait the whole fucking day to see a doctor, and you're kicking a habit, and you're foaming at the mouth, and they make you just sit in bed, and you know. So I found this place. It took my insurance. There was no problems. But it was a good place, so I stood with it. But I forgot
Mm.
where I was even going with this. What the fuck was I even going with this? I totally forgot.
Old
Can't help
people
you there,
shit.
brother.
But just getting in the
There you
system
go,
was the
Joe.
fucking hassle. Just getting in the system, you
It
know.
is. It's the
Yeah, and it
system.
depends
It's
on where
set
you
up.
It's a
are.
fucking
Yep.
hassle.
Different
It's a
states
hassle.
are
Yep.
worse,
Yeah.
other states are
Yeah.
better. Like
Yeah.
New York, anywhere up north is better.
Hmm.
Florida is terrible. Places in the south are not that great.
Yeah.
Obviously California is a lot better. You know what I mean? So
Well,
it depends on where
you
you
got that
are.
rehab
But
you got that
Yeah.
rehab shit down there in Florida. They're
yeah, which is
they're the
not
halfway
good, man,
house
down
the
here.
halfway houses. They're getting the kids high to get them for the insurance money. They're keeping them fucked
Let
Yeah.
up.
me tell
That's
you,
all it
I've
is. It's a
seen
The
some
money
halfway
wheel.
horrible
houses with
things down here with rehabs, like
yes,
recycling. They'll
ma'am.
just Baker Act to get
Yes,
them back to
ma'am.
the facility if they were trying to leave. Like,
Yes, ma'am.
I at first I'm like, is this for real? Is this like really
Yeah.
happening? Yeah, like
Yes. Yeah,
it's
man.
crazy. That's why when I would get calls from people from New York and up north, and they're like, I'm gonna come down and go to rehab there. I'm like, don't do that. Stay where
Nope.
you
Yeah.
are. You're in the best state to
I
get
want
the
to go to
help
the
to get more
beach. I want
genuine
to go
help.
to the
Yeah.
beach. Go sit by the
But
beach.
and
Yeah.
they know that, but
Fuck
they bill
you,
out the
man.
insurance and
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're gonna
dude.
they're gonna try to get you to
You'll
stay.
be yeah. You'll be
So
in the hood in
it's
West Palm
crazy.
Beach sucking dick in a fucking month. You know what I'm saying? No. It's a shame. It's a shame what they do to these poor
Yeah.
kids because what happens is these white girls come from down here, okay, and they go down there and they're getting pimped out. They're being trafficked now. They're trafficking these kids. You know, they keep them supplied with some junk, and instead of standing on a corner by themselves hoping for something so they can get their fix, they're guaranteed a fix, but then they got to hand over some money too. It's ridiculous what it's turned into. And by the way, I've been to 10 halfway houses. You know who owns halfway homes? Recovering addicts. So
Most of the
you can
time.
be you can be in recovery but not a recovering addict. Like you can be in recovery and
Hmm.
kind of like they say,
Hmm.
you're faking the funk. Okay, you don't pick up a drug, but you live dirty. You're fucking this guy's
Yeah.
wife, or you're robbing and stealing over here. You know what I mean? You're doing dirty things. So there's a lot of that going on with those halfway homes, and that's personally from what I've seen. I've been in the mix a long time. Thankfully, not in a long time, but it's been a while. Thank God. But it's
Yeah.
it's it's dirty. It's nasty, and it's a shame
Yeah,
because
and
these are young kids.
it's
Young kids.
yeah, and like I was saying before, they address everything so separately, and like
Yeah.
they pigeonhole everything, like
Yeah.
substance use here and this and then that.
Yes.
It's
There's
but like they're not
templates. Yeah, they're
yeah,
set
they're
up.
not helping
It's
people. Like
ridiculous.
me,
Yeah.
I'm very much out of the box, but I
Yeah.
naturally think that way. I don't like
Right.
things in boxes. I like to look at
Right.
what is, okay, and then
Mhm.
how
Yep.
can we make this better,
Yep.
um
Yep.
but like I said, to help anybody, you can't look at them through the eyes of a diagnosis. It won't work. It's
Right.
just accumulation of symptoms. It doesn't even
Yeah.
mean anything
It's all
like
personal.
Right.
bipolar or any of those things. Like schizophrenia is like one of the ones. It's very specific. It's genetic. You know what I'm saying? You could go your whole life and not be triggered by a stressful event and not even have it triggered. But that's more specific, like bipolar, depression, other things like that. Like the way we classify those symptoms, could be very mild or very
Right.
severe, and it doesn't
Mhm.
Right.
really encompass or help a person, because what do? They either go to therapy for
Right.
1 hour a week, or they get on
Right.
medication, or both. Most of the time, they're
Right.
just on medication. They're not even
Right.
Yeah.
getting the skills to
Right.
like overcome.
Right.
Like,
To
why are they
deal with
Right.
it.
depressed? Is it
Right.
like hormonal?
Right.
Is
Medication
it
only suppresses.
dietary?
Yeah.
Is it
Right.
like a medical condition? Because anything with the
Mhm.
stomach, that's where 80% of your serotonin is built. If you have anything
Gut
wrong with the
biome.
stomach,
Yeah.
you're gonna have other types of issues, anxiety, depression, and mood disorder, all that stuff,
Yep.
but they don't ever look at that. It's like, okay, you have depression, take this
Mhm.
medication. It doesn't work that
Right.
way
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
really
They
No.
trying
try
to
to
help
drug it
people.
away. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
but you
the
got to
problem. They
know
think that
what the
yeah.
prevailing issue is,
Right. There's got to
because
be a
Right.
diagnosis of what's happening. Yeah.
you
Right.
got you
Right.
got to know the person. You got to know how they got there, how they end up
Right.
there.
Absolutely.
Um,
In order to treat the
so
problem, the core of the problem.
exactly,
Yeah.
you got to
Yep.
treat the
Yeah.
core, but we don't do that. Not even in the medical field do we do that.
We
Like
don't.
no
No.
one does that. It's crazy.
Hmm. They throw drugs at it. Is the easiest way.
Yes.
It's the biggest money
Well,
maker. It's like, take this, take that, take this. It's like this will
Yeah.
help you. But like you said, drugs, whether prescription or street drugs, are just cover ups. They just subside the
yeah, they
problem. They
put
don't
your
treat
brain
the problem.
offline.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
They don't
So
Oh
you're
treat a
yeah.
not
thing.
really
Yeah.
actually going through what you should be
Right.
know.
going
Yeah.
through.
You
Right.
know
They
what would
don't make
happen?
you
You
Yeah.
know what
better.
happened?
They mask
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
I
not a
go.
matter of like, should you or shouldn't you take medication, right? Obviously, you
Right.
should try everything else first, and that should
Sure.
be last line. But it's like
Right.
when
Right.
you should take medication, how you should take it.
Hmm.
That's a better
Oh.
question to ask.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
It's never about yes or no, or should I, or shouldn't I, or
It's
Yeah.
never
the
black and
diagnosis
white
is
like that.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the diagnosis is great in terms of like, hey, these are the symptoms, right? So
Hmm.
you understand basic symptom clusters and what's happening with the person, but in
Yeah.
terms of helping them, that's not really gonna, that's like that much of the picture,
Right.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Yeah.
terms of you really got to dig in and figure out what's going on,
Yeah.
because some people are
Absolutely.
going to need to be on medication. Like some people with severe psychosis, there aren't many other
Mhm.
good options for that, and they're not
Right.
well enough to think their way out of it or to like change their core assumptions and
Yeah.
stuff
Mm.
because they don't have the faculties.
Sure.
So in
Right.
those circumstances, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An extreme circumstance, like let's say you're suicidal and you can't even get out
Mhm.
of your own way, that's a good time to take a medication for that period, just to get your baseline up so you can, work on the skills to get further. But it's not like a forever thing.
Right.
Most people
That's
don't need
key.
to be on medication forever,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
That's key that you
So,
said that for that
mhm.
period. Just for that
Yeah, for
period.
that
Not
period.
for the
Yeah,
rest of your life. For
no,
that period to help you
No.
get through that period so you can learn how to deal with the issues that are making you go through that period. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
it's just a temperamental thing. I mean, everybody thinks it's a life
Yeah.
fix. It's not meant to be. Just like everybody with the pills and the same shit. I got a bad back. I take oxygen for the rest of my life. No,
Yeah.
it's not really good to do that.
Yeah,
You
there
know,
should
there's
be
things to do to
exercise
build
and
up
other things involved.
things to do to
Absolutely.
build up your
Strengthen your
body. There's
core.
Absolutely.
things to do to
Yep.
build up
That's
your
like numero
mind.
uno, mind,
Right?
body, and soul. You
That's
cannot
right.
get
That's
better if
right.
you're not taking care of yourself.
Yep.
And
You
people
That's
think, well, it's
right.
just mental health. It's separate, and it's never separate. Your
you get
health
out what you put
is
in.
your health.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
gotta be physical. You gotta be like you gotta tend to your soul, and you have
Yeah.
to tend
Yes.
to your mind. You know, like
Yep.
all
Yes.
that needs to be taken care of if you really want to thrive. You know,
Right.
Yes.
it's
Absolutely.
just super
Yes.
Yeah.
important. But
Yeah.
that's not what we're taught. We go to therapy.
No.
We're taught very limited surface type skill
Right.
sets that don't really like
Take your
coping skills.
drugs.
You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
just use a
Don't
coping
forget your
skill
meds.
in the moment. You
Yeah.
got to
Exactly.
practice. You got to do things outside the moment. You got to make it a
Right.
part of your whole life. It's got to
Yeah. It's
be
got to
like
Yes.
become
game
habit,
changer.
habitual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
You got to
It's like
do.
Yep.
You
putting
got
your
to do
shoes
the
on.
things every
Absolutely.
day.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Amen.
man.
100%.
Absolutely.
She tells me
No,
that
it's
every day too.
yeah. No, you keep
Joey,
going
you
right
got to
there.
work
I
out.
always say, do
Get
the
your ass
things.
in the
Do the
gym.
things.
Do the
Yeah.
thing.
Do
There's
the
six
Do
thing.
the
That's why
things.
questions. You
it's
got your
so
six
good.
questions?
Yeah.
Pull out your 6 questions.
There
You
you
know what's
go.
funny to speak to Marcy's point regarding that is, in the last 2.5 years, I went through divorce, custody battle, the entire thing, which is what I talk about a lot on some of the
Oh,
episodes we do.
Oh
And
yeah. Good
the
stuff.
one
Good
thing
stuff.
I got into was initially, I could have got myself to the bottom of a bottle or drugs,
mhm,
but you know what? I
Yeah.
was
absolutely.
like, you know what? I'm gonna eat clean and I'm gonna work out every single day. That's what I'm going to gear myself towards to take care of any type of stress, mental anguish, anger, heartbreak, whatever the case might be. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be prescribed, more drugs or anything like that. So, yeah, it's like becoming physically fit, working out. I
Yeah.
mean, body, mind, and soul, like you said, Marcy, it's like it
Yeah.
has made things, in my opinion, I think so much uh, I don't know if I'd say easier, but more tolerable for me to handle over the last 2.5 years.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
without it,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd be.
You
But
got the
being I do it,
tools.
I,
You got the
I made
tools
it a
now.
habit. Yeah, I made it a
Yeah.
habit. It was habitual. If I don't work out, it's a problem for me. I'm like,
Mhm.
I got to work out. I can't go here. I can't go there. So, like she
Mm-hmm.
said, it's like you got to, kind of uh, set your mind to something and just concentrate on that to
Yeah.
get you away from that.
Yeah, it's got to be a part
Right.
of your life, a
It
part of your
works,
routine.
and it
You
works. It
know.
Mm-hmm.
100% works. She's spot on.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yep.
I try. I'm there. I'm doing little things. But if I wasn't for her, she does it every day. So
Hmm.
no matter how she's feeling, she's out there doing it. I'm trying to get out of it. I'm like, oh man, we should take a day off. And she's like, no, get your ass out
I'm
there.
like, no,
No
get
days
your
So
ass
off.
out there. Let's
No
do
days
this.
off. Yep.
I gotta
Days
make
off
excuse
should
now.
make you feel like shit.
What?
Yeah.
Just going outside for the
That's right.
walks and stuff like that, Joey?
Yeah, the walk, the work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
anything, the workouts.
that's what. See,
Walk. You
Marcy's on
add a little
point because
workout.
that's
Right.
why
Yeah,
I always
we
say it's
walk for
good.
about an hour and we do a workout, and like every
Yeah,
time we get to
same
like
Walking.
thing.
the
Walking is so
certain point.
stress relieving. It's
You
It
phenomenal.
got to
really
be
is
Yeah.
though. But
outside.
to tell
You
you
got to
about
be outside.
walking, like literally, your brain processes very well
Hmm.
when you're walking. Like
Yeah.
like memories, events from the day before or the day. Like
Hmm.
it
The
literally
thought
processes
process is
events.
sped up.
So mentally, it's doing work to help you.
Right.
And you're getting, and it's also mindful, right? You're in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
moment. You try to be in the moment. Look at everything around you. Like that.
Yep.
That helps your body. It like basically gives your body the space to
It's
heal.
To
half the
It
battle,
refresh.
gives your
Marcy. It's
Yeah.
brain
half the
the
battle.
space to heal.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
half the
And
It's a
battle.
people think like,
refresh.
oh, those are such little things, but
No,
those are
no.
the things, man.
Hmm.
Yes.
That's what
People
really
that
makes
sit in
you
a
better.
fucking room, people that sit in a house or in a room all day drive me fucking nuts. And I had somebody in my family. I was like, why am I so depressed? Because you don't fucking go to work every day or get out and do something or exercise or
You
use your
have to.
mind or do something constructive, do a garden, cut the fucking lawn. You do none of that. That's why you're fucked up in the head.
And
You know
it's
what I
funny,
mean?
like
And this
when
is a
I
regular
I
family member of mine. Joey probably knows what I'm talking about.
I've been in this
You
field for
know?
a long time. The people that do the things are always the ones that come out okay. Even if they come
Yeah.
to me with something traumatic that happened and you find out that they're doing all the things, they're already 20 steps ahead already.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're going to make
Yeah.
Right.
it through just fine. That's what it's about. And you notice, like, with depression, it makes you more like it's hard to get up. It's hard to
Sure.
do
Yeah.
what you need
Well,
to do. You know
Yeah.
what I
don't get
mean?
it
Yeah.
twisted. I
So
was that motherfucker in the room. Don't get it twisted. I was that dude in the room as well. For a period, I was in the bathroom for a long time with a needle in my arm.
and you'll
So
have periods where
I,
you have that
you
in your
know,
life, and that's okay. You just got to get
yeah,
back up. You know,
that's
you're
it.
gonna
Yeah.
fall down.
That's it.
That's
That's it.
completely normal.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but
I
now,
get
like you
back up.
said, through all this, with the whole process of all this, because like I said, when you go addiction, all that, that's all mental health. It all intertwines. They hit you on both ends to see, like we're talking about, what the root is. Why are you doing this? Not everybody does what I did. You know,
All
some
right.
people
I'll be right
experiment
back.
with lighter stuff.
All
You
right,
know what
Joe.
I mean? But a lot of people don't do that. That they don't take it that far. So there's an underlying issue as to why
Yeah.
I chose to
Exactly.
do that. You know what I mean?
There's a reason why
So,
people do things. Like if you have
yeah,
an urge to do something or you're doing something, there's a reason. You know, it might not be all like, traumatic or dramatic, but there's a reason why everybody does things.
Yeah.
There's something going on in your body that's creating that type of, what you do on the outside, you're basically for some trying to cope. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like people drink and have
yeah.
fun. That's no big deal. But obviously, like Mick was saying, you're spot on. If you're taking
Yeah.
it to a certain extent and you need it to be okay,
Mhm.
yeah, there's something you want to take a look
That's a
at that.
problem.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do I need this? Like what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Opiates
Mm-hmm.
is kind of a different thing a little bit because you'll have people that were like, never touched a drug in their life, completely normal, had a surgery, took opiates, and they're heroin addicts now.
Yeah.
Like opiates are so dangerous because they're
Yeah.
so addictive. It literally rewrites your brain chemistry, shuts down the prefrontal cortex. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's a really serious thing.
Marcy, how do
Yeah.
you feel about like benzos versus opiates? Like are benzos on the same level or are they a little more
It's
controllable or
kind of
Worse.
addicted,
They're worse.
addictiveness.
You can die
Mhm.
from benzo.
They're
I
not
know
as
all the
addictive as opiates. However,
Okay.
when you
benzodiazepines.
come
Yeah, sure
off
they are.
like
They are. You can
opiates,
die from benzos. You can't die from opiates withdrawal. You can die from benzos and
no, wait,
alcohol.
wait,
Those are
wait.
the only two things.
That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I was going to
Yeah.
explain. There's a big difference between the two drugs. Okay.
Mhm.
Opiates are dangerous to be on, because
Mhm.
you can die from respiratory depression.
Sure.
Obviously, you can
Yeah,
OD quite
slows down
easily.
your shit.
Coming off of them, no,
Mhm.
they are not dangerous.
Right.
Benzos are very dangerous to come off of, but they're not as addictive as
Mhm.
opiates. But if you get addicted to a benzo and then come off of it, then yes, you could die just like you could with
That could
alcohol.
kill you. Yeah.
Alcohol is the most dangerous substance to
Alcohol and
come off of.
benzos,
It kills
right?
people. Alcohol
Yeah.
is involved in it's involved in most suicides, car accidents, everything. Mental health
Yeah.
issues, it's involved
Yeah.
with everything negative that you can think of. It's intertwined. Domestic violence, family, like all of that. It's
Yeah.
involved in everything. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but like all drugs, all addiction is not good, obviously.
Right.
You know what I
Sure.
mean? But like just knowing the difference, benzos are more dangerous to come off
You?
of. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Opiates
Okay.
are more detrimental to your life in general. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Not that they both can, addiction's addiction and it could tear your life apart regardless. But I'm just
Yeah.
talking
Yes.
about in terms of like
Right.
death,
Yeah. And I
statistically
only ask
speaking.
because benzos are, seem to be, and Mick, you probably agree, like passed out more than a lot of other
Well, not
prescription
anymore.
medications
They're
these days.
starting to
Maybe not
Not
now,
finally.
anymore.
but
Yeah, they're
Not
really
anymore.
yeah.
stringent
They're
on that
starting
now.
to finally wake the fuck up
Yeah.
because I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
benzos are gnarly. I took benzos as well. If I didn't have a
Yeah.
benzo, they're highly addictive. If I didn't have a benzo, I go into a seizure or I start having muscle spasms
Mm.
laying in bed. You
Yeah. So
cannot
coming off
go.
of them
Physical
is very
addiction.
Coming
dangerous.
off them is
Yeah.
horrible.
Just like
But once you
alcohol.
start
Same
taking
thing.
them, but once
Yeah.
you start
Seizures,
taking them,
all that.
you develop a physical connection to them. You don't have them, you're not moving out of bed. So they're highly addictive. To say they're not addictive is crazy to me.
Nobody's
You know
saying
what I
they're not
mean?
addictive.
Yeah.
Opiates are more addictive.
Oh,
Not most people, not
I
everybody
think they're
gets a
hand in hand, but yeah, I hear you.
well,
We could
let me
go
just
back and
explain
forth with
real
that
quick.
one.
Well, only because like in the field and statistically speaking, most people will get addicted to opiates faster than benzos. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And benzos
All
are more
right.
dangerous to come off of.
But that
Like
study's
that's just
fucking not right
statistics.
though. That study isn't right though. Because they were giving benzodiazepines out to fucking housewives in 1940, 1950,
Mhm.
1960 with
Mhm.
quaaludes, benzodiazepines. So that study, I mean, I dig it. Listen, I'm not going to argue. They're both horrible for you. If you get addicted to them, you need them to function to get out of bed for your body to even operate. You know what I mean? They're both nasty. I hate them both. I've never gotten in so much trouble in my life. It gave me 6 months in jail. Benzos. Never did jail time. Shot dope for 20 years. Never did time like that. Benzos, 6 months. Maybe it's my chemical makeup, but everybody I know that did benzos completely ruined it. They're so horrible. They're so horrible.
Well, yeah,
You
both are
know,
horrible. No one's
they're
debating
both
that piece of
horrible.
it.
No, I'm
Mm.
not saying you are, but I'm saying that when they say that, like the statistics, I can't stand that to begin with. Statistics
Well,
are
no,
needed.
that's
Stats are
just
needed. They're good, but from a street
Yeah.
level and a bird's eye view, you get another whole different view. Like I said, if you don't know the situation or the area, then you wouldn't know, like, the other side of it. But it's I think they're both highly addictive. Whether one's highly addictive more than the other, I don't fucking care. They're both bad. They're both no bueno. You know what I mean? So that doesn't even come into my radar as far as which is worse, which is more addictive, which can you get hooked on quicker than the other, because you can get hooked on both of them like in a heartbeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways your personalities and things like that come into factor into that as well. You know,
Of
your
course,
always, and
your
as
everybody's
far
chemical
as
body
makeup.
chemistry is
Yeah,
yeah,
very different. You know what I
right,
chemical
mean?
makeup.
It's just
Hell
absolutely.
that,
yeah,
when
yeah.
they look at that, when they look at that type of stuff, it all makes a difference in terms of like life threatening, what to look at more. That's why they look at it that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
They look at every drug for exactly what it does. When you know exactly the impact it has, it's easier to quell it, and the community know what to do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, same thing with suicide. Knowing what pill will kill you and what won't, or what take longer to kill you, even if they're both bad, that's important
Mhm.
information to have. You know what I
Sure.
Yeah.
mean? What exactly they do, that's what they're talking about. They're not saying like, oh, if you have a, addiction on benzos, it's not as bad. No one's speaking to that. They're just talking, and when they talk about stats, they're just talking about what is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What do we have to worry about with this drug? What do we have to worry about with this drug? You know what I mean? If you don't
Right.
know
Yep.
that information, it's really hard to help people, especially if they're in the crisis. You got to know
Mhm.
what to do. Stuff
Yep.
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Makes
We just
sense.
need
Yeah.
people to do more of that, be more open, like you said, because you need people to have
Be more
statistics
aware.
and stats.
Yeah.
You just got to
Absolutely.
get
Yeah.
involved. I mean, take a census. If people say, "Hey, listen," because I've done it. They pay you $100, $80 to come in and sit for 2, 3 hours. I did it when I was homeless, so I can eat
Mhm.
that night. All right, and get my high. They gave me cash to come in and ask me certain things. Took a census, and it has to do with mental health and drug addiction. I
Mhm.
did it, and I got paid. And they got what they wanted, and I got what I wanted. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it takes people to help people. It takes people so they can help you. You got to help others so they know how to help you back. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
it's like a
information is
Marcy.
working.
power. It really
It's
is
Yes.
huge.
power,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand the differences. And like you
Yeah.
see that a lot. And so a lot of people are, dying because of it, because
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
don't understand, which one, like for instance, this is a huge thing with
Hmm.
alcohol. When people come in like in crisis, they're dropped off, people thinking that they're in a psychotic episode when actually they're going through delirium
With
tremens, and it's a
withdrawals.
very different thing. And if you don't know what you're looking at, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But if you don't get that
Yeah.
person help immediately, they're going to
Yeah.
die.
Yeah. I
Because I
had a
had
guy do that.
somebody come into a crisis, right? And so
Yeah.
they dropped him off at our facility, which was not a medical facility. Okay. They thought he was
Wow.
psychotic. He thought he was on fire. So I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, this guy's not psychotic. I'm like, his pupils are dilated. He's
Yeah.
sweating, like you just know the difference if you've seen it enough. So to call
Yeah.
the ambulance right away, like he would have died. But and it's very subtle difference. So, I totally get why, but you have cops out there, they have no idea. They're
Hmm.
not trained in
Right.
this, so they
Right.
don't have a clue at what they're looking at. Just like
Right.
a simple thing like cerebral palsy. You know how many people get pulled over and arrested because they think they're drunk and they're not drunk.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
cerebral palsy. So, or aphasia is huge. Like people have aphasia, they think they're psychotic because they can't communicate effectively.
Hmm.
And like
Right.
I've had a lot of people come in from that. I'm like, this person is not
Yeah.
psychotic, they have aphasia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those subtle differences, and especially with the
Yes.
drug community,
Mm.
alcohol especially, because that gets confused a lot, and you see a lot of
Yeah.
people have a problem with that. So
Yeah.
And like
that's always my big concern.
And
I
like
was
you
in a
said, that's
shelter sleeping
they got to
next
be
to a guy.
educated on that in
Yeah,
order
and they're not.
to
People
tell them.
aren't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the
No.
problem. Yep.
No,
That's
Yeah.
the
and he
problem.
was, I was in a shelter sleeping next to a guy. He was kicking booze in Patterson, New Jersey, and he thought he woke up. He was through the tremors, delirium, kicking booze. He thought fucking midgets were chasing him, elves trying to kill him. Woke up
Yeah.
in the middle of the shelter, running.
Yeah.
Had to call the ambulance. Everybody didn't know what the fuck was going on. The guy that owned the shelter was a recovering alcoholic. He said, "No, he's going through his detox. He was
Yeah,
drinking
it's
all. He
tough,
was
man.
used to drink cheap wine for 30 years. Yeah, so he knew the difference. That's what I wanted to kick on. You're right. You got to
Little Paul
know
Masson.
the difference so you can know how to treat them.
Yeah, it's
Like,
tough because that's like life
do
or
you
death
think?
type stuff.
Do
Yeah.
you think George Floyd incident would have happened if these cops might have known that maybe, hey, listen, this guy might be on fentanyl? If they
I
looked at his
always said that
pupils,
too because
did you?
initially, the whole time, if you watched it, I watched the
Good
whole
question.
thing. Well,
Yep.
whatever was available, and he was saying from the beginning, "I can't
Yes.
breathe." That's a
Yeah.
sure sign of respiratory depression.
Right.
And because they knew him and he always did this stuff, they didn't listen to him. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's why it unfolded the way
They
it unfolded because
assumed.
he's always
Yeah.
pulling this stuff. He's always
I
doing,
didn't
he
know
was
that.
always doing stuff like that. So they were
Okay.
just like the cop that kneeled on him was the one cop that dealt with him over and over
Yeah.
and over again, several times
Yeah.
with the same type
Yeah.
of thing. Like he was holding up a pregnant woman, like all kinds of stuff. So they really
Yeah.
weren't paying attention to what he was saying. They were
Yeah.
just thinking
They
like,
didn't
we know this
understand the
dude.
symptoms.
Exactly. They weren't
Here he
even paying
goes
attention
again.
to it.
Here
They
he
were like,
goes
yep,
again. He's
there he
doing
goes
it
again.
again.
He's faking. He's saying
Yeah.
this. He's going to try to, whatever. So that's why that happened. They didn't, you got to do your due diligence. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't even
And
think
police
the
officers, for
departments
the
and stuff
most part,
that.
like that, they're not trained for that
No.
I
stuff.
was gonna say,
They're
I don't
not.
think
Not at
departments
all.
make that
Yeah.
a mandatory.
Not
Departments
at
should make that a
all.
mandatory
Yeah.
class.
Well, just like
Or have.
in Florida, a cop
Yeah.
can Baker Act or involuntary hold, but that's what it's called here. They don't
Okay.
have any training. They have literally none.
Right.
Maybe
So
they're not
how can you
required
make that
to,
call? Yeah.
but they can take CIT, which is like a 4-week training into some mental health stuff, but they really
Right.
just go over
Right.
diagnoses and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
They skim the
So they have
surface.
no education
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
Baker acting people. So it's like,
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
it's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
It's just
there's
crazy.
no place for it. And I think they do that. And like where I think your field, Marci, and folks like you can come in. I mean, it would be great if you guys were taken advantage of to teach law enforcement and other facilities to understand that stuff.
Right.
I mean, that would
Exactly.
be a huge step.
Well,
Yeah.
hey,
But it seems like nobody cares.
instead
No,
of
nobody gives
giving
a shit
No,
13
because
billion,
Nobody
ultimately
cares.
it comes down to
13 billion
money.
Ukraine.
That's
Hey,
all
We
it
don't
is.
have the
It's
money
all
for
money.
that.
Stop
all
giving
You
him
know
money.
what I'm
money.
saying? Instead
Yep.
of giving the 13 billion to Ukraine, pay people like Marci to go in and train fucking
There you
people
go.
and educate people.
There you go. Yep.
We don't want to do that
But
though.
no, because
Nah.
it costs too much money and they don't
Right.
want to do that. They don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
They want to use the
Yeah.
resources they
It-
have
Right.
Yeah.
in the most efficient
Because-
sense, but it's not efficient because it's not doing the job.
That's
So-
right. Because they might fix the problem and not get the funding for it the following year. So
Exactly.
it's all about
keep
dollars.
It dirty, baby. Keep
Always.
it dirty.
Yeah.
If it
Always
wasn't
about
for
dollars.
junkies or criminals,
It
there'd be
sucks.
no lawyers, no judges, no jails,
Yeah.
no nothing.
Mick, the
Gots.
prison system
No
is a
gots.
business. It's $1 billion a year
I
business.
know.
I agree.
You
No
know
doubt
how much
about
it
it.
cost
Yeah.
me? You know how much it cost me a month to live in prison?
Yeah.
$400. $400. No. Yeah, 420, $428 a month to live in prison because I couldn't eat the food. Jail,
Yep.
not prison, jail.
And you
Couldn't
got to
eat the
remember
fucking food.
prisons and
Gotta
things
buy
like
your
that
own
are
Gotta
funded,
buy your own
federally
clothes,
funded too.
boxers,
State
socks.
Oh, and
shower
there's
shoes.
a lot of red tape and bureaucratic bullcrap in
Ton
jails.
of it.
I was going to work
Ton of
for
it.
Man, I
one.
was in
Yeah.
a I was in a
I do my
privately owned
vetting,
jail.
and
Yeah.
I was like, hell no. And I work with
Yeah.
them too much, like
Yeah.
there's no way. It's
It
too
was
crooked.
bad. Very crooked.
Yeah, I didn't want her doing that anyway.
The
Yeah,
freeholders of Freehold, all Jewish, Hasidic Jewish people own Ocean County Jail. Joe, I was at for 6 months. Long time ago. And
Yeah.
they had, private jail. They don't got to do certain things. That's where I got COVID. I didn't have COVID. Obviously, I was going to get it in that fucking hole. And everybody that worked there brought it in. People were dying. People died in jail. You ever hear about that?
Yeah.
My cellie
Yeah, all
got
the
me
time.
sick with COVID. He got. Well, yeah. But you don't hear it like it's not like a big national thing like
It's
from
not
like COVID when
mainstream.
COVID
No.
happened.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
because they
like
don't make
they
anything
didn't
like that
touch on
mainstream.
it.
Oh, hell
I
And
no.
know, I
there's no money
know.
made
People would be
Yeah,
from
outraged.
that.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
yeah,
all about
yeah,
dollars, man. Everything
yeah,
is a money maker.
Everything.
yeah.
You know,
Money,
Let's face
money,
it,
money.
when
courts,
guys in jail,
prisons,
yeah.
Money,
everything.
When
money,
they
money.
figure guys in jail,
Yeah.
just
Well,
scumbag. No, I was
Fuck
in
you,
jail
pay
for
me.
driving while
That's
suspended.
all
I
it
was in
is.
jail for driving while
if you look
suspended.
at how like everything's funded, like help,
Mhm.
like how you get
Yeah,
help through insurance, it's so
Mhm.
limited and it's not even set up to help you. So
Right.
everybody's getting worse and it's an epidemic, but no one's
It's
doing
set up
anything
to
about
get
it.
people paid, is all it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
Yeah.
not like when you go to like you can't even do actual work. Like I will never take insurance because I can't work that way and not help
Hmm.
people. You know what I
Right.
mean? I can't work in those
There's different
parameters because you
standards you
can't help
meet.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
parameters they set for help, you couldn't possibly help somebody. You know what I
Right.
mean? With
Yeah.
as far
how
as
they set it up.
how.
You have to
Yeah.
diagnose a certain way, see somebody for a certain amount of time. Like you can't like for instance, one
Gotcha.
hour a week is
Right.
not enough. Number one. Number
Right.
Yeah.
two, if you're not in the mindset that day to do the
Hmm.
work, it's not going
You're
to
gonna
happen.
get
Right.
nothing
You know what
done.
I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not
Right.
going to
Yeah.
get anything
Zero
effectively done anyway.
results. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And after that, you need a hooked up, you need follow up. Like, okay, after a
Hmm.
session or whatever, it needs to be free flowing. It needs to keep going,
Right.
whether it be through text, through
Open
voice messaging.
contact. Yeah.
Exactly. There needs to be
Yeah.
consistent contact. There needs to be consistent help. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
ran through this snag and I'm like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Tell me about what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
what needs to happen. It needs to be like a wheel, like a
Yep.
living entity that just keeps going. Like not like,
That's
Yep.
right.
okay, 1 hour a week. Bye. I'm going to forget about
Yeah.
you after this and I'm not going to
Yep.
forget your
Right.
information. I have to look
Yeah.
at the chart. That
Yep.
Yeah.
how's that helping?
It's
Yep.
crazy. It's just
Crazy.
crazy. It leaves
And
people
I'm
in
like,
the
how did we
dark.
get
It's
here?
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's money. I mean, it's all
I
everything's
know.
turned into greed. You know,
Exactly.
that's
Yep.
all it is anymore. I mean,
I know.
I mean, the
It's a
death
shame.
rates are higher than the life rates, and it's ridiculous. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
sad.
It's worth more than a human life. Dollars worth
yeah,
more than a
you're
human
worth
life.
more dead than you are alive. So, I mean, that's
I
hey,
know.
we're gonna hit you
Oh
for
yeah.
what
They
we can
even
while you're alive.
even when you
So,
die, Danny, you know this. I'm sure whoever
Back
had
shit.
parents pass on them notice to bury a loved
yeah,
one is
Oh yeah.
not
15
inexpensive.
grand minimum. Yeah,
Minimum, dude.
Yeah,
Minimum.
15
minimum.
grand. Yep, that's
A
exactly how much
joke.
Yep,
I spent.
A joke.
that's
Crazy.
right.
A
Yeah.
freaking joke. A joke.
Yeah, and I got what's crazy, Marcy, guys, is I got my younger brother is married to a woman whose family owns a funeral home, and
The
Oh
even with
guy
wow.
Greg is
Greg is
his.
married to his wife Jill, who owns a funeral home, and
Oh
even
man, that's
and believe
creepy.
me, I mean, my mother and father, had been buried and services done through them. And yeah, even with like them taking care of us, whatever, 12, 15 grand. I mean, it's
Wow.
like, most people, it's like you see GoFundMe's for people that died and stuff like that. And people are like, well, why do they need a GoFundMe? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, because, when you're alive, you don't think about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a thought in your mind. Uh, but yeah, it's crazy
It's
how
like
much it
I think
costs
it's like
just to
nine. Yeah, I think it's like
nine
9 grand to
minimum.
cremate. 9 grand to
Yeah,
cremate.
nine minimum. Yep,
You
it's
burn
Yeah,
somebody, it's
insane.
9 grand.
exactly.
Yep,
It's
it's
just it's
ridiculous
it's
anymore.
That's like
crazy. But if you
just
look at what causes mental health problems and crime and all that, it's desperation. That's the
Mm,
one thing that's really linked to
it's a
that.
big factor,
Being
sure.
low. Now, let me tell you, most people cannot afford to live on one salary. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got two
Not
people
these days.
working
Yeah.
full time and they can't make ends meet. Okay?
Right.
What that if most people are in that position, like, yeah, mental health is going to
Desperation.
be rampant there
Yeah.
because you
Yep.
can't afford to pay your bills. That
Right.
stress of not being able to meet your basic needs
Huge.
is
Yep.
numero uno when it comes to mental health. That's why you see
Yeah.
mental health mostly in like lower socioeconomical statuses.
Hmm.
It's because
Mm-hmm.
of that. They can't
Mm-hmm.
afford. You can't actually really thrive mentally if you're in crisis. You have to get out of
Right.
Yeah.
crisis to be able to develop mentally. Period.
Right.
So you have
Right.
all this
Well
stuff, all
put.
these
Yep.
kids growing up, all these people in hard situations,
Mm. Yeah.
and these stats are known. You know, they come
Yeah.
from government sites. They know what causes it. So,
That's crazy, man.
you know, when they say they have programs, and I read these programs, and I'm like, that's upstream, man. You know, like
Yeah.
that's not
They don't
doing it.
want to address the problem. They just want to feed the problem.
Yeah,
And
they
that's the
make a lot
problem.
of money
Yeah.
on it. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. They don't want to
They really
address the
do.
solution. They just want to feed the
Mhm.
problem. So that's where the money
Exactly.
comes in. Yeah,
That's where the
it's a
money is.
joke. Yep.
Yep.
So
It's like the
Mhm.
war on drugs. There's no war on drugs. You need the drugs to come in so you can. All these people, like I said, they can get caught and they
right,
can
they
do
feed the
crime.
health
You know,
system. I mean,
same
yeah,
thing.
it's everything's
Yeah.
a money wheel. It's
It's
just figuring
a
out how it works.
whole like free falling system. It's like
Yeah,
self-sustaining,
Isn't it
and like
crazy?
everyone's stuck in it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like opiates, and I'm not like bashing everybody on Suboxone and everything, but if you think
Mhm.
about, okay, they created the opiates that way. Like they don't use milk of the poppy, right? The most purest form of it. They use the most
Peggy.
what's it called? The most tainted version of it that's been processed and processed and processed and reprocessed to the point where
Yeah.
it's so physically addictive that it changes your prefrontal cortex and the way you make decisions and things. And then the whole cure for it is the same drug that's not psychoactive. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you know, there's other ways to do it. I granted a lot of people, because it's such a bad drug, it's very hard to get off of. So some people can't function off of Suboxone or, you know, any of the other ones, you know,
Mhm.
which I understand
Methadone.
that. But like the whole
Methadone.
system was
Same
created,
thing.
you know, with the
Yeah.
highly processed opiates, you know,
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
crazy. And I
Yeah.
can't get out of this like sunshine.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I know, it's
half
killing
light,
you.
half
I know,
dark.
like,
It's killing you.
Yep. It's a
ah,
pendulum that's swinging.
yeah, I
You
know.
know?
It's like
Yeah.
killing me.
There's like a
I'm going to go
there's a
shut
big
my
stigma.
blinds.
Oh, you're blind.
Sorry.
There's a
I'll be
big
right back.
stigma
I
with
can't
that
see.
stuff. With that stuff,
Yeah.
Suboxone and the methadone.
Oh,
Everybody
it's
says,
nuts,
"Oh,
man.
it's just masking it," you know. And to a
Yeah.
certain extent, it is.
Well,
You know,
this is the thing though. If the
but it helps
opiates
people
weren't
learn how to
there,
live again. You know.
this I mean, like, because of the opiates they created, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's hard not to do that. You know, some
Right.
people are dead. It's 50-50. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
both people be, you know, like everyone has a very stark opinion. If some people are like, no way, I'm not doing
Yes.
that. And so
Yes.
they get off without it. And other people's like,
Yep.
no, I can't function without it. And
Yeah.
mentally
Right.
speaking, you have to be
Right.
able to, you know, do the thing. Like if you
Yeah.
can't get off of the opiates in any other way, then yeah, that's a
Right.
stepping stone. Absolutely. You know, you
Yeah.
have to be well.
Yeah.
You have to make a step to well, even if it's the step
Yeah.
is like right there. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Has to be a step
Right.
in the right direction. So
Right.
it's again,
Right.
it's not a matter of if I should or shouldn't. It's when I
Right.
should, how I should, all of that. So like
Right.
I'm
Right.
not bashing like people who use that. I am
Well, yeah.
bashing
No. No.
the drug
Yeah. No.
companies that created the problem in the first
Fuck
place.
yeah.
Because
Fuck
Yeah.
they
yeah.
don't need to be using opiates that way. You know what I mean?
No.
Like there's
Oxycodone
No.
a
is a
lot of,
perfect
you know,
example. Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
That's Pfizer.
Or
Pfizer, Johnson and
OxyContin,
Johnson.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Johnson
Yeah.
and Johnson paid out what 110 billion to the families whose kids overdose on oxys because remember when they
Oxys,
said
yeah.
OxyContin was not an addictive drug? It's not addictive, you
Yeah,
know.
there's
Oh
an
my God.
actual
Oh yeah.
Then
documentary,
it came
like
out
a
that
show with
it is.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton on that on
Hmm.
Netflix or something called what's it called? It's a great series, but Michael
Oh
Keaton plays
yeah,
a doctor in rural Pennsylvania who,
yeah.
you know, everybody that was coming in, it's like, here's some oxy for you, here's some oxy for you, here's some
Hmm.
oxy for you. And it wound up killing like hundreds of
I
people.
think I, I
Uh,
think I saw that small town
oh, it was
doctor,
phenomenal. Yeah, it was based
and he
on
tried
true
and he put
events,
a
true story.
and he put a stand on
Yeah.
it, right? He tried to fight against it and stuff
Yeah, he
like
tried
that,
to
right?
fight it, and they
Yeah,
pushed back on him,
yeah,
like, "Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh
you're not a
yeah,
doctor, you're this, you're that." But
yeah,
yeah, it's like Marcy said. I mean, it's the pharmaceutical uh,
It is.
yeah.
companies for the
Because they
most
could
part.
easily use like a milk of the poppy. Why not use that?
Yeah,
Why did they have to process it in such a way that it's so toxic
Synthetic,
to the
right?
body?
because money.
You know?
Right.
Right.
Money,
Exactly.
money, money.
Yeah, money,
Because
money,
you know how much
money.
money
Concentrated
they make off
synthetic.
of opiates? It's insane.
It's
Oh my
insane.
God.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's insane.
it's a
Yeah.
business. It might as well be a
You know how much
Huge.
corporation. You
Suboxone
know.
costs?
Same thing with
Suboxone is
like
very expensive.
diabetes stuff and all the other stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like it's all just this big everything we rely on medications
Yeah,
and toxic
yeah,
yeah,
substances in our body, you know? And
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's part of the mental health as well because it
yeah.
again it changes the
It's
blood chemistry. It has a
it's a
big effect
billion
on that.
dollar industry. You know, it's
Hmm.
billions of dollars a year industry for pharmacies,
Yeah.
for Merck, companies like
I mean,
pharmaceutical
look at our
companies.
food. If you look at
Crazy.
if you look at the
The
ingredients in any
processed stuff.
food, half the
Yeah.
crap you can't even understand it. Like
I
Yeah.
know.
That's
you
why I
went to
stay
other
away from it.
countries, they don't
Yep.
feed their
But it
people
tastes
this.
so good.
Scary.
Or it's
Yeah,
illegal
no,
there
it's
in other
scary.
countries.
It's all
Exactly.
steroids,
Marcy,
man.
right? Yeah, it's like they don't even
Exactly.
sell it and put it in their foods. Red
Exactly.
dyes,
They would
red
never.
40, yellow 5, things like
The
that. Yep.
corn syrups, the high fructose corn
Corn
syrup,
syrup,
the salt, the
That shit is
HFCs.
processed
gnarly
salt,
Yep.
for you, right?
the processed
Yeah.
gluten, the process. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all. It's
It
crazy.
That's where I
is.
But
gain
it
all my
tastes so.
weight. Pepsi.
But it tastes
Pepsi.
so
I
good.
gain all my weight from Pepsi.
I can
Pepsi.
really only eat like 20% of what's in a supermarket. Like not much.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
the
Believe
outer
it.
ring, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
blame
all
you.
the good
I
shit
feel
on
the
the
same.
outside, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The kale
Yeah.
and
All the healthy stuff.
kale and the
You,
freaking.
you gotta, because what you put in, you get out of your body. So
It
when I
makes a
eat good,
difference.
I feel good. When I eat shitty, I feel shitty. I mean,
I agree.
that's
It's like a car,
When I
exactly
eat
right?
this.
shitty, I take a
Yeah.
shitty. A big one.
Exactly.
Just like a
There you
car.
go. I
Just
mean,
like a
so
car.
same thing, Yep.
Just like a car,
Yeah, it's
right? You
crazy,
put
man.
shitty gas in the car, ain't
It's
gonna
all
run
about
It's
your
good.
body.
true.
You got to take care of your body, mental, physical,
Yep.
and the rest will fall in, and it's a lot easier to deal
And
with everything else when you do that,
Yeah. Absolutely
Yeah.
true.
yeah,
Just lift
Yep.
your baseline up, You think
Yeah.
totally different when your body's
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
line and you're doing the
right.
thing than you would if you weren't. You
Yeah,
gotta
Yeah.
like lift up your baseline and you could pretty much deal with whatever comes your way in time.
absolutely.
Things
Yeah,
tough things are gonna come your way and you're
sure.
gonna fall down and you're gonna have a problem, but you'll get back up a lot quicker. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And a lot more
I
effectively and you'll be okay. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
vegetables
yeah,
suck.
100%. Eat your
Blech,
veggies, your spinach, like Popeye
blech,
said, right, Joey?
blech. I can't eat
There's
that.
plenty of vegetables you like. You don't
I
have to
like
eat kale.
I like cucumbers and I
Yeah.
like lettuce.
There you go.
There you go.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's a
I ate a
start.
Yeah,
dry
my
Some
bro.
people
daughter.
I
don't
ate a
even
dry
like that.
broccoli once.
A dried
Shit.
broccoli?
An uncooked broccoli. I'm sorry.
Ugh, that's got to be a
I have
little.
a picture of it.
Do you
Yeah.
really?
I do.
Marcy, you got to
Was
post
it
that shit
chewy?
next time.
Was
I
it
will.
chewy?
I have a
Nah, but,
progression. Him picking it up, him putting it to his mouth. He's like, the whole
Uh,
thing.
It's like my daughter. I'm
hey,
trying to get her to eat fucking veggies, dude. I gotta
greens?
start her out
Yeah.
with the corn. Yeah, she's tough on that. She'll do a little
Yeah.
broccoli. She likes spinach though, but the white pizza spinach. God forbid, you gotta have it on a fucking pie. I said I'll take what I can get right now if I'm the
That's
kid.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
But she needs to eat
Yep.
more veggies. Kids, she gotta eat more fucking veg. She loves fruit, so I'm cool with that.
Tell her to eat
But
radishes. They're good
the
for your liver.
veggies, man.
Dude, it's all about body, mind,
I
body.
ugh.
I mean, it is
Well, that's what
My
100%.
Marcy was
mind and
saying.
body
That's
need
the ticket.
Milky Ways and bread. Okay, Milky Ways
Dude,
and bread
I
and
love
high.
bread. That's my problem,
Yeah.
So,
Bread's my deal, man. Bread's my fucking
yeah.
I've been
yeah.
doing it right. I kind of, but
Too much
lately I've been
carbs.
eating it.
Yep. You
Eating
give me
It's
a
what?
like a
pot of
balance,
pot of
though. You
gravy
can't
and a loaf of
completely
bread.
deprive yourself of things that you love. You
Yeah.
just got to balance it out, is all. You know what I mean? That
Moderation.
you're
Yep.
taking, yeah, you're taking enough good stuff in and
Small.
getting enough bad stuff out, basically.
Yep.
Now people, it's after
Absolutely.
an
Yeah.
hour. Now we got people coming. So if everybody, it's a Podcastrophe. We're talking men's mental
Yeah,
health. You got
guys.
any questions? Ask them. I got my
Yeah,
psychotherapist
comments
wife
in them.
here.
Yep. Guys,
Get you some
Marcy's
help.
phenomenal. Ask the
Yeah,
questions in comments. We'll get them to her if she can answer them. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Small. We know you're nuts, right? That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it.
What else was I going to ask, Marcy? Is when it comes to like the mental health stuff. Now, I might have asked this or touched on it earlier, but
Mhm.
do you see a lot more individual stuff or family stuff present day?
Family. Well, I work mostly with families right now,
Okay. All
and
right.
I've always worked with
Hmm.
everything. Kids, adults, all kinds of medical problems. I've pretty much
Mhm.
done everything in some capacity or other. I just like to work. I don't have a preference. I
Yeah.
like to work with people.
Mm.
Whoever needs help, I don't really care
Yeah.
what the issue
That's
is.
awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
not adept at the particular issue or a particular type of therapy that somebody wants, then I'll just refer them to someone I know that can help. You know what I mean? But other
Yeah.
than that, I'm just, down.
Yeah.
Take them as they come. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Mickey,
a
you
good
don't
deal.
eat your vegetables?
Oh fuck no. Grandma's seeing shit. She's hearing shit. I think I said
I
Michaela, you
said,
nut.
Mick, what are you talking about? You don't eat veggies either. That's awesome.
My
Dude,
dude
every
is on
night,
drugs. I think
Called
every
you
night
out.
I
I
try
hid
to
my
get a veggie,
stash.
every night.
I don't do veggies at all. I
Joey,
hate veggies. I
bro,
like
Did you
you're
meat.
take
chopping.
subs at all, Mick? Vitamin
Who?
supplements, anything?
No, I can't do it. My kills my stomach. All
No
that shit
kidding.
kills my stomach. I got bad stomach problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually all right. I got high blood pressure, and that's about it. And
That's all,
that's
huh?
it. I have my blood. Yeah, I have my blood. I don't have high cholesterol, no sodium problems, none of that shit. I'm just a fat fuck right now, and high blood pressure. But I'll tell you what, my blood pressure, bro. I'll tell you what my blood pressure was. You won't even fucking believe me. The doctor said you should be dead or in a fucking. It was 200 over like
Good
180.
gosh.
Two something over
No
God.
180.
kidding.
The doctor said you should be in a
Oh
stroke.
my
I said I
gosh,
do get
man.
lightheaded every now and then. Yeah, that was when
This
I
is
just started to get off the junk and yeah,
this is what they told me.
yeah.
They're like, you could have a stroke or a heart attack any
I
minute.
Dude,
know.
Like,
you got
I
you got to
just
oh.
know
take
I
slap
was
the
used
meat
to
a little
feeling.
healthier, Joey.
I was
Yeah, Marci's been
yeah.
trying to. I told her give you some stuff. I'll make some healthy shit. I guess I can't eat it, but
You
Look
gotta
up
eat it.
some
Yeah.
look up some fucking recipes, Joey. During the
Yeah.
day,
yeah,
look
Dude,
at the
I
recipe.
know.
chicken,
I know how to
fish,
make.
One,
I
it's a
know how to
quick
make all that
protein.
recipe.
stuff.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
do
So to
some.
make it,
I make salmon
make
and the
it.
vegetables and all that shit. Right. I
Yeah.
make that for all the time.
Hmm.
I just can't eat it.
I was like,
Ugh.
yeah, you just don't eat it. You can
Nah,
make it.
man. Give me a pizza roll. You have the fish.
Yeah.
No, I ain't eating all that crap. I've been good, kind of.
Yeah, they
I
the
had,
fish is always good, man. Most of your fish is good. Depending on where you get it, it's got to be wild
yeah,
caught, things like that. Farm
yeah,
raised, not as good, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
Elena said, Joey, this is your wife. She loves it. So that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's a lucky girl.
Oh, I'm very
Yeah.
lucky, girl. I'm feeling the luck.
Joey's demented. Joey's
Feel
yeah,
the
she's got
luck.
luck.
That's
She's
right.
got
Feel
luck
the
It's
coming
luck.
out of those
flowing. The
rocks,
luck is
right?
flowing. That's right.
Where we,
Yes.
She got that beautiful hair. She got that beautiful Italian hair.
yeah.
Them
She was.
Italians.
She's Italian, all right. I went
I'm
there.
like
Definitely
100,
Italian, right?
almost 100% Italian.
There you see. I
That's
don't even got
awesome.
to. Yeah, see. I don't even
A
know
little
that.
bit of
You
Greek.
could tell. You could tell. There you
Yeah.
go. See. That's why
Greek
you
has
got the
Everyone thinks
phenomenal
I'm like,
food
they're like, either you're
too.
100% Italian or you're Spanish. I'm like, nope, I'm Italian.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
got. I used to. You know what happened? Me being looking like Spanish when I have a tan back in the day. I used to go into projects. Used to help me out. They used to start talking to me in Spanish, and I knew how to talk copped open Spanish, like manteca is heroin, and dos manteca, shit like that.
Yeah, she's
No
Italian.
pasora, no pasora, just a bigante manteca. Yeah, it helped me out. I swear to God, it helped me out. It was great. But you know, as long as I
Nice.
don't get pulled over, I'll be all right. Right? Pulled over while tattooed, motherfucker. That's what I call it.
Marcy, do
Oh,
you I wanted to ask too, are you private practice? I know you said you work with a company or corporation or
Mhm. Yeah, I
like
work with a coaching company. So
okay,
I don't currently have a private practice. If I
okay.
did do something on my own, it would be more like a coaching thing. I'd
Hmm.
work outside the clinical error because there's a lot of bureaucratic bullshit and
Right,
all that
right.
crap. So
I
I would
understand
Yeah.
put it
that.
under the
Yeah.
guise of coaching and then do it that way,
Awesome.
and then
Yeah.
just charge, a monetary fee or,
Yeah.
try to work it out other ways where I'm getting other funding sources. So I'm
Sure.
not really
Right.
charging anything to people, that need
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
help.
but you
Yeah.
got to make a living though too. It's a two-way street. I mean,
Yeah,
people,
I
Yeah.
mean,
they.
obviously, I got to pay my bills because
Right.
there's no way
Exactly. I
around
mean,
that.
yeah, man.
I gotta get my
The
nails
only
done. She
time,
has to work.
Joey needs
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
pedicure, you
I
know?
got it.
I
Needs a
know.
pedicure.
I go once a
That's what
week. I
I'm
get my
working
mani pedis.
for.
All
He
right.
needs his balls. He needs his
Gotta
balls
take care of
powdered.
my baby.
I need my balls powdered. I need my. I get my asshole waxed. I'm
Oh,
good.
Meanwhile, I cut my
dude,
own
0
hair,
to
do my
100,
own
you know?
stuff.
Right, right.
Dude, this show
Mickey's
can
walking
go
around
from
with a
0
broken
to
arm.
100 in a matter of seconds, you
Hey,
know?
it's a
Yeah,
podcastrophe.
It sure
that's
is.
right.
Yes, it is. Yep. Like,
That's
comment,
right.
subscribe, people.
Soda
You
also
know?
That's
contains
right.
good stuff for me to drink. I
Yeah.
love
There you
it.
go.
It does.
Uh,
I try to cut down. I'm trying to cut down though. I do a lot of Powerade. I always catch the Powerade on here too. Always.
Dude,
And
it's all
at work too.
sugar.
Powerade
That's
is good.
sugar shit. Yep.
Well, no, they say sodium. They say a lot of
Dep
sodium.
certain
Nothing's good
types of
for you though.
sodium.
That's my point. You can't do
Yeah.
nothing right.
You got to
You
navigate it, you know?
Yeah,
because they
you
basically put
you
crap in
drink
everything,
tap water. It's
unfortunately.
not
There's
good for
crap
you.
in
Drink
everything,
spring
yeah.
water. You know, yeah. Don't drink
Dude.
tap water. Spring water. Don't fucking
Smalls,
drink
do we get a
Gatorade. You
discount,
know,
like a friend's
crazy.
discount?
Absolutely crazy. Nothing's good for you. That's why I don't
Yeah.
worry about it anymore. You know.
I drink
Plus, at
water.
this age, shit. You know.
I drink water a lot. That's all I
Water's
drink,
good.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water's good. It's good to hydrate. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
H2O.
Digestion.
No,
Yeah.
I drink like 2 or 3 of them a day. Right?
Water?
I'm
2, 3
the other day.
little glasses or bottles or gallons.
No, these big fuckers.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
How many ounces is that, Joe?
I don't know,
40.
Marcy. How many ounces is that?
40.
Okay, 40 ounces.
So 120 ounces a day. That's good. Yeah. That's solid. Marcy's got them lined up on that. You see that? 40.
I love it.
Boom.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Yep.
That's awesome.
Drink 2 of those, you should be solid.
Yep.
It.
I do that.
Marcy's like the mother Joey never had.
Like,
Marcy's great. And shit.
my mother said,
I'll tell
"Drink
you.
soda, get out of my face."
Dude,
Have some iced tea. Drink this iced
in
tea.
my opinion, I'll tell you guys.
Come back when the
Marcy's
street lights come on.
best guest we've had so far. She's
Yeah.
been awesome.
Thank you.
know?
They've
That's
all
so
been good
sweet.
in
I
their
appreciate
own
that.
way.
Phenomenal.
In their own
Yep.
way. They've all been good in their own way.
Yeah.
But
she's been, I mean,
anybody.
as far as
This is
being
the most-
informative,
This is the most
it's
informative.
huge.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. 100%.
She's a
Yep.
professional.
Thank
We're not
you.
telling dick
Yeah.
jokes.
And again, I didn't have to
You
say
know?
much.
We're not telling dick
No.
jokes.
We're not telling dick jokes, right,
Marcy, we greatly
we got a
appreciate it.
professional in here.
Of course.
Yeah, no fart and dick jokes.
I'm honored to be on here.
Yeah.
All right, we
Checks in
owe
the mail.
Thank you for
Tristan
coming on.
something.
Joey's paying your. Joey's got a check coming to you. He said for the
That's
show.
right. Joey said he's
No,
going to give
no.
you cash once the
No,
show
I got
ends.
There you go.
Tristan's taking care of my grandson here. I had to get up a couple times, but yeah, he's
You're okay.
he's just all over the place. He just,
You're okay.
Yep.
like
Go,
it's almost
Tris.
time for his melatonin.
Not quite
For
yet.
the kid?
Melatonin.
Yeah, man. Melatonin.
Give him
Give him that
melatonin? Can
melatonin.
he
Yeah, he's
take
all over.
melatonin?
Kid
At
from
that
as
age,
soon as
you
he
can give
wakes
him
up,
melatonin?
I give him
Mama
1 milligram of
Dukes, you three are definitely a catastrophe. Go ahead, Joey. I'm sorry.
I give 1 milligram of melatonin, knocks him out for the night, puts him to sleep for the night. But he's
Yeah.
running all over the place. We were in a pool. I got the little pool for him. We were in there for like 3 hours, man, 4 hours. I don't know. It's crazy.
Dude, they have so much energy, these little ones these
Good.
days. It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
Bring him
I moved
outside.
the pool out. I moved the pool out
Hard
to
to
the back
contend
so
with
there
that.
he can get hit with
Yeah.
all the sun, knock him the fuck
Yeah.
out. But he's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
going. It's like
Yeah.
you wind him up, boom, he's done.
Kid's probably red
Dude,
as a fucking
play hard,
lobster, but
sleep
as long
hard.
as he's tired,
Yeah.
I don't give a
He
fuck.
does, though. When he sleeps, he sleeps.
Yeah.
So.
Play hard,
Yeah, he's
sleep
out like a
hard.
light.
Yeah.
He's out like a light, huh?
Oh yeah. No, this morning, like I need a few hours to get, to enjoy just to relax, because I know it's going to be a whole day with him, which he's great, but he's just all over the place. But this morning, and he's been sleeping till like 8, 9 o'clock. This morning, I woke up to take a piss. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. The dog goes into his little tent and does this yawn. He's like, and wakes the fucking kid up, and that's it. I didn't have no morning to myself at all.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Bastard.
You know?
He's in all my shit. Like, I'm hungry. That's what I hear right now in the background.
They got to
You already ate like 50 things.
proteins, eggs.
He's got hot
stuff
dogs
like
in the fridge, where all the cheese is. The kid never stops eating. He's eating cheese balls. He's got crackers, donuts. He ate like 3 hot dogs today. He
He's
had
a grown
a little
boy.
bit of macaroni and cheese. Freaking, I don't know, something else I can't remember. He's just eating and eating and eating. It's island time. Joey, now the things you say, you're trying to do the thing. LOL. Now I get it. Meaning what the hell? Meaning I don't know. Whatever, Lena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys, thank everybody.
You got
Thank
it
you
right.
for commenting.
Thank you very much.
And getting involved. It's appreciated.
Yeah, I just typed that up. I just typed that
Thanks
up
for
there.
coming on.
Yeah, thanks
My
for
wife
comments,
is
guys.
good.
I appreciate it.
Marcy
We
was
do
phenomenal.
appreciate it. Peggy showed up
100%, yeah.
as always.
Shit.
Yeah, Peggy was
you
late
don't
to the
wanna know how
dance, but
much-
she got here.
You
Yeah.
don't want to know how much coffee I drink, Peggy. I drink all day, bro. My whole shift that night, since I work third shift, I just pretend it's like during the morning. It's the same thing all day, all night. I'm sipping coffee all night. I bang down probably 2 of the extra large cups at 7-Eleven. I don't buy them from 7-Eleven. I make my own because it's too expensive. But I do
Yeah, I
like
don't blame you.
48 ounces off the rip, bang them down, and then I'll sip. I have a thermos like Joey, kind of like a 40-ounce thermos that I take to work with me, and I hit that. I don't always finish the thermos if I'm working like busy or if I'm just not into it, but I don't know. Coffee doesn't affect me though. It doesn't get me jittery like some people
Dude,
have a cup and they're like they
caffeine's a
look like they
drug.
did
You
an
get
8
addicted
ball.
to
You
Fucks
it.
know
me
what I'm
up,
saying?
man.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
really?
I used to drink like, man, I used to drink like freaking,
Yeah.
4 or 5 pots a day of coffee. And I
Yeah.
make my coffee, I make it strong. But I can't anymore. My heart just makes my heart fucking bust out of my
That's
chest.
I had to
Does it?
quit
Yeah.
because
See, it
of
And,
doesn't do
anxiety
that.
and stuff. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
it
I figured
doesn't do
even
that to
Caffeine
even
was
you.
killing me.
I'll have hot tea, a little sugar, melted
Yeah.
sugar in it.
It's a
And
lot
I
of
do that
caffeine
too.
in tea. Yeah.
And the caffeine,
We got a
and
lot of
I've never
caffeine
had a
in tea,
problem with
right,
that
right.
caffeine.
Yeah.
But boom,
Yeah, it
all
might
of a
be
sudden, the
something
last few
different.
months, now I got to get fucking
Yeah.
decaf coffee, or I got to have, and I
Yeah.
got
Oh,
decaf fucking tea bags.
Joey, let me
fuck. Are you
tell you, man,
serious?
I
See, fuck
smoked
all
for
that,
many
man. I'm not.
years, bro.
Oh,
And
I love smoking
coming off
cigarettes.
cigarettes for me wasn't, I thought was bad. The worst thing I ever had to come off of, and I've never been addicted to, a lot of the heavy stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
caffeine, man, for months I
Crazy.
got migraines, physical withdrawals. Caffeine was awful. I haven't touched
What
caffeine
kind
probably
of
in 10, 12 years. Yeah.
what kind of
Yeah.
physical withdrawals did you get from that? Like, what would you get? Sweats?
Mainly
Would you get
migraines.
sweats?
I would get migraines
Yeah,
multiple times a week. I would sweat. I mean, Mick, beyond sweating at night when I went to bed,
yeah.
bro,
That's
I
like a
would I
dope
would
habit.
drench the sheets, man. It was
Sheets drenched.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And I was like, wait a
yeah.
minute. This is caffeine and I'm withdrawing like
Uh,
this from something like this. I'm not putting this in my
right,
body anymore, period.
right. No,
You
it's
You could
know?
do
smart.
the same thing with sugar. If you try to like not
Yeah.
Right.
eating any sugar, same thing. It's
It's
hard.
Really?
People
insane.
like
Yeah.
sugar is in
Uh,
everything they
Everything.
put sugar in.
Yep.
you
It's like
Yep.
try
ridiculous.
getting off of Afrin, okay? That shit's addictive.
It was. Joey's dad
I
used to do it.
yeah,
He
my
used to have
dad.
methamphetamine in it. Joey's dad used to do it every day, right, Joe? We'd be playing
He
outside. He's
still
four or
does.
5 years old. He still does. Had it in
I
his
do it.
fucking top pocket all
What
the
is he?
time.
Oh,
No
No,
he's
the
kidding.
af the
yeah,
the
it's
old
Afrin.
Afrin, the nasal spray. It's a
It
nasal
got so
No
spray.
bad.
kidding.
My dad was putting up. He went to the doctor about his sinuses because his sinuses were fucked up from that. But it's like the doctor's like, if your shit's so thin, it's like doing coke and it just widens down.
Rotting
He's
the
like,
shit
Yeah, he
out.
yeah.
he like told him, if you don't stop doing this fucking Afrin, I can't do anything for you. It's like, nah, I
Yeah.
can't
It was
stop.
like a
Boom.
speed. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like a speed back in the day. It had something in it that gave you a little
and
pep.
my pop still
Crazy.
has it.
Does he?
I always have it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Marci
Wow.
uses it too.
Yep.
Do
I've been
you?
That's
I've been
always been
kicking.
a thing for me. It's so hard
Yeah.
Yeah.
because if I can't breathe out of my nose, it's like I have a panic
Yeah.
attack. So it's like
Yeah.
I have to
Like,
have Afrin because if I get a stuffed nose, it needs to be
Yeah.
cleared. Like,
Yeah.
Did
or
you ever
that's it.
use the
I
It's like,
Band-Aid for
Panic
night
attacks
for
suck.
sleep?
You
Did
know?
you
yeah.
ever use the Band-Aid for
Yep.
night for sleep?
yeah, Mick,
I
that
Yeah, the
that shit
tried it.
nose
Did it
thing,
work?
you mean?
Did it work for
It
you?
does work
it
though.
worked. It
It
worked for
does?
me, but it doesn't stop snoring.
And nothing
Yeah.
stops your snoring, but
Yeah.
Joey,
Not.
you need one of those CPAP machines or something,
yes, he
That's
probably.
what
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what we've been
Yeah.
talking about.
He's
I
Yeah.
got
got
a
another. I
G-Ring
had to
machine.
reorder my shock collar. I'm good.
Did you? He's gonna have. He's gonna constantly order
Be here
Chinese
July
devices that
1st.
want to kill him. They
Marcy
want to
has the
kill us.
remote, for
I'm like,
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll zap
They
Hey,
you.
want to
babe,
kill
Yep.
us.
I don't smoke. I don't snore though, right?
no, you don't snore with it, but you really need the CPAP to take care of the problem that's causing the snoring.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's expensive.
Yeah.
I burnt my
Yeah.
Yeah.
neck.
And it's that big fucking mask you put on your face. It's
Yeah,
got the
it's a
motor
Yeah.
next
mask
to it,
with
They
right?
have
the, and you
different
got to
ones.
I
buy
use.
Sometimes they have
distilled
one that go over
water.
the nose,
Yep.
or they have different
Yeah.
ones. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it
You gotta
takes
go to
I
a
getting
knew
used
medical,
to.
somebody
I'm
who
sure.
had that.
the
I knew
You
medical
got to buy
somebody who
supply
had
store.
that.
distilled water too. I think you got to have for that.
Hmm.
I think.
Yeah,
I've gone
Absolutely.
through it. Yep.
I have
Yep.
distilled water in the house for my steamers and shit, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This poor
It's
bastard. He
crazy.
was telling me he couldn't fucking sleep for months, not because of the thing, the machine worked, but that goddamn thing he had on his face. He couldn't get used to it. He had to lay on his
Yeah.
Yeah.
back. That was it. He was like a stomach sleeper or some shit. You know? It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Crazy. Amazing.
I'll take a shot. And
But
it's shock. It sends impulses every once in a while. That shoots a shock in there. It picks up on sound. So as soon as I snore, it'll zap. It'll start zapping. It'll shut me down. But
No
if
kidding.
I fart, it'll hear that too. and then it zapped me.
Man,
Fucking shooting,
it's a
setting off the
multi-purpose
And
goddamn.
I,
machine.
you know, and I
Yeah,
fart in
yeah,
my
yeah.
sleep, and I giggle and shit. I fart and then I giggle while I'm sleeping, right, babe?
Yeah, it's super
He does it,
super
yeah.
entertaining. Talking, farting, laughing,
I
yelling,
threat,
Hey,
I'm threatening
I push it
motherfuckers in my
together.
sleep.
threatening
what else
people.
could you
Like,
ask
who
for
are
in a
you talking
partner?
to?
Shit.
You
I
got my
choose
fucking
shit in my
money?
sleep.
You got
Marcy's
my money,
giving you
motherfucker?
psychotherapy while you're sleeping, you know?
I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. She's got it diagnosed for you by 6 a.m., bitch.
That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah, she's got a
She's
sheet
heard your
written
whole
up
life
and
story
shit.
by
Yeah.
6 a.m.
No,
Totally.
it's,
This is
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening.
that's like every morning, you know, like that's what I.
That's
It's the only
awesome.
thing, and the only annoying thing about her is she breaks out every time we're gonna have a conversation. She's like, "Hold on, I gotta go get my clipboard." And she comes back out and she's like, "How's it make you feel? And how does this feel?" And I'm like,
Are you serious?
"No,
No, I don't
I'm
believe
actually
that.
say-
That's not
I was gonna
happening.
say,
No.
goddamn.
I would never do that.
It's like,
No.
you know, it's like, you know, we go to bed. She's like, hold on, let me write down some notes here. All right, start. Okay, wait, stop. How does that make you feel? And I'm like, you know, like,
I've actually
Uh.
never asked that question.
No.
Never.
That's and it's got to be hard to separate that, like from your career to like your family and things like that. I'd imagine.
Yeah, because
too.
you just don't like you just can't shut off what you know. You know
There's
what I
Right,
no
mean?
separating.
exactly.
There's
Yeah.
no
It's
separating it,
tough.
right, Marcy?
I
No.
mean,
There's no
like I'm pretty
separating it.
good at like I know when certain people are not ready to hear certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I would
yeah,
never push an idea that someone doesn't want or
right.
isn't necessarily ready for because that's not help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
If they want help and they ask me, I'm all in, you know, but I'm not going to like force like you should be doing this. No, I would never do that. You know,
Yeah. Help has
if you
got to
want
be.
you want my help, I'm all about it. I'm all in,
You got to be
you
a
know?
willing
Mm-hmm.
participant. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they
Yeah.
got to be
Place
ready
of
for
work.
what you're telling them too, you know, because some
Yeah.
people like if you're here, you can't get here in one step, you know, so you got to get them here and then here and then here and then here,
Joey
you
doesn't
know.
want help. He's good.
Let me tell you
He's good.
something. That's
Right.
the key too. That's the key part too.
You gotta
When
want
they're
it.
ready,
You got to
they
want it.
got to
Got to
be
want it.
ready to
You got to
want
be
the help.
willing to do it, you know. It's
Right.
work, man. It's hard work.
Yeah.
When
Every
I stopped
day.
running around, it was like the difference between all those other times I tried to chill and now is because it was just I was ready. I wanted, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
It was like a.
Yep.
It's so hard to explain.
It's a
It's
switch.
like a
Yeah.
gauge. It's a gauge. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a switch. It's like
Yeah.
you're over it. Boom, you finally got over that hump, and thank God you didn't die before you got to that. And
And
that's
you learn
that's
Yeah.
from
what's
it.
sad
Yep.
about people who pass away from this stuff. It's because if they could have just held on a little bit longer, whether it's from suicide or drug overdose
Oh
and
yeah.
mental health, if they could just hold on
Yeah.
a little bit longer, just make it through like what I had to do, just get through the next 5 minutes or the next
Yeah.
minute. If
Dude,
it's
it's a
that
real
bad for
thing, and
you,
it's 100%
Yep.
you know,
a huge problem present day.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
you
Yeah.
know. Don't
Mm.
even worry about tonight or tomorrow. Just get through the next 5 minutes, man. Let me get 5 minutes
Huh.
under my belt, and let me stay
But
positive for 5 minutes.
it's
Fuck
hard too
depression.
because you know like the whole perception like
Yeah.
for instance 7 is the average stays in a rehab that someone makes before they actually start to do the work
Mm,
and get better like and like
mm,
actually maintain a level of sobriety for a period of time, you know, but
mhm.
you'll even see a lot of the professionals in the field like if you come in multiple times they're like shaming you, you know, like oh here we go again, and I'm like no, like they'll come in upset, and I know that's like a big thing, you know, obviously you're
Yeah.
more upset about relapsing than you are about, you know, and that could actually bring you into a longer stint of, you know,
Uh-huh.
using because of the
Mhm.
shame you
Mhm.
feel. But I'm like,
Yep.
Right.
you didn't fail. You didn't fail at all. You're here.
The
You didn't
system
fail.
failed
You're
you.
Right.
Yeah.
succeeding, you
You
know,
came back.
because
Yeah.
you're
That's right.
doing it. You came back.
Yep.
Like that is
That's right.
so crucial, but it's not the
Yep.
mindset that the
Right.
professional realm comes to you with. You know,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
more like it's very shame induced because they're like, oh, I thought you were going to do well this time. I thought you were doing well. It's not about that. It's
Right.
about,
Right.
you know, everything is a journey and it's a step by step journey. Nobody
Yeah.
decides, I'm going to get off drugs and then they're fine for the rest of their life. It does not work
Right.
that way. So,
No.
why like professionals think that that's how it works
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like beyond me. Even
It's
mental
Right.
health,
crazy.
you know, you were
Yeah.
doing great. Now you're doing shitty. Well, no, you're not doing
Right.
shitty. You just fell down and you just need to get
Right.
back up. And sometimes
Yeah.
you need help to do that, you know, but
Yeah.
And,
it's
and
not the mentality that it's, you know, the field is faced with at all. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
not at all to discount it, but I mean, if you're somebody who, you feel like you can't hack it or you don't know what to do, man, I've been there. Reach out to somebody. Okay, like
Yeah.
Marci in Marci's field, reach out, get the
Yeah.
help, ask the questions.
Mhm.
It's so enlightening and it's going to help you so much. You're going to discover things you never knew about yourself, and it's
Mhm.
going to take you to places you never thought you could be.
Yep.
Just reach
Absolutely.
out. That's all you got to do. Friends,
Yep.
family,
Mhm.
professionals like Marci, guys, girls, man. Don't be afraid of it. It's who
Exactly.
cares what other
Yeah.
people think about it? I mean, it only
Yep.
matters what you think. You got to
Get
get
your help.
well. Nobody else
Yeah,
gives a
it's your
shit.
life.
Absolutely. So
Get
don't
the
be
help.
afraid. That's the
Yeah.
biggest hurdle is being afraid, or that aura around therapists, counselors, psychotherapists. Guys,
Just the fact that
don't listen to the bullshit, please. You
Yeah.
know,
everybody, I
I
don't give
get
a fuck who it
chills.
is.
This is insane.
Everybody has some kind of mental health issue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, for you to think you're just plain out normal, nobody is.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. You know, get the help you need. Don't feel like somebody's judging you or anything. You're going in. These are people who are, you get a therapist, good therapist, who is,
Mhm.
they care. They're gonna listen. You
Do it
got
for
somebody to
you.
vent to.
Yep.
You get it out, and they can give you some kind of insight and help you
Yeah,
guide you in
just
the
Yep.
path,
guidance.
guide you back
Exactly.
Right.
to where you need to be. And
Yep.
everybody's this world's fucked up, so
Big
everybody's
time.
fucked up.
Big time, man.
So
It's
you ain't
worse than
alone.
it's ever been. Yep. So reach
Absolutely.
out, get that helping hand, you know?
Yeah, like my
Please.
grandson's about to get a helping hand from me in a minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He must have
This
stuck
was
his
incredible.
hand back in Dookie's mouth again. He's letting the dog bite him, and he thinks it's great. And then the dog's like, he ain't biting him hard, but he's still got teeth, sharp teeth.
Yeah.
And like he's just shoving, he's putting his whole mouth, fist in his mouth, going, "Come on, Dookie!" Grab him by his canine and walking him and shit. It's all over the place. But yeah,
Yep.
great episode.
This was awesome, guys. This was phenomenal. Marci, thank you so much, man.
Oh,
This was
you're
so
very welcome.
enlightening
Thank
for
you for
Yeah,
me.
having
thank you,
me.
This
thank you,
was
babe, for
This was
incredible.
coming on.
We
awesome.
gotta have her back, guys. I mean,
We
really,
will have her
you
back.
know,
Absolutely.
Of course.
Just let me know
Of course.
when.
without a
Of
doubt.
course.
Marci, anything you want to plug? I mean, you want to mention anything? Please
Yeah,
go right
Um,
ahead. I mean,
nothing that I
plug
didn't already said other than, yeah, like
Yeah.
your
anytime you
company.
have a problem, even if it's, reach out to somebody. Doesn't have to be professional, could you be
Yep.
anybody? You know what I
right,
mean? Get it,
Yep.
get it outside yourself. You know what I
right.
mean? Get it outside, that is the first step, into doing anything.
Amen.
It's
Yep.
one step at a time. You're not going to get from here to here. You just got to go one step. That's it. And then move
Yep.
forward from there.
Well said.
A lot of
Yep.
people get very, very overwhelmed because they're thinking about the task at hand. They're
Right.
thinking about the goal, but you got to look at the steps. You got to look at the progress because that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Keep yourself
Yeah,
anchored. So,
Amen.
Yep.
Well said,
That's
guys. Listen
major.
to that. That's
Keep
great
your feet on
advice.
the
Yeah.
ground. Yep.
Yeah.
Feet on the ground, man.
Stay grounded,
Head
man.
up.
yep,
Reach out. It's that easy.
Yeah.
There's
That's it.
always
yep.
somebody.
oh yeah.
One
Anybody on
step.
this show, me, Joey, Mick, we're always here. You want to comment? Reach out to us
Hey,
That's right.
personally,
That's right.
please.
I'm
Okay.
always here to help.
That's right.
Joey, Mick, everybody, guys, we're here,
That's
man.
right.
If something's wrong, please reach out.
Mhm.
Instagram,
Especially, yep.
TikTok, whatever your ball
Especially
is.
substance abuse issues, man. You
Substance
guys can
Yeah,
abuse
definitely help.
stuff,
You got my
really,
Gmail is
guys.
located at the end of the
Dude,
description
Mick can
on the
help you
channel.
out, man, in this
I
stuff.
know
So, yeah,
I'm no counselor, but I've been there and I've done it.
yeah.
I'm
I know a
half
lot
a
of good
half a
stuff.
therapist because my wife
Yeah.
is.
That
Just
I
half
agree,
a.
Yeah.
Joey. You
I
gotta
want
be. That's
half.
right. Yeah.
I own
Hey,
half that master's degree now.
that's right. Hey,
Do
you're
ya?
more than
Yeah.
you're half
Yeah.
more than me and Mick. That's for sure. You know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, guys,
Yeah.
please reach
Yeah.
out, man. It's never the end. It's never over. Please keep
Yeah.
pushing. Stay with
Thank you,
us.
Peggy. I am angry at
That's
myself all the
right.
time. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Marcy. I
Phenomenal, guys.
real quick, yeah, I just want to thank Marcy as well, for coming on. I appreciate your time, Marcy.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
I
Marcy,
course.
thank you.
I expected something special from you, but this was, above and beyond. This was phenomenal. Yeah, and
Awesome.
anytime that you're
Yeah.
welcome, I mean, you're welcome to come on whenever you want.
Yeah.
Even if you want to, hey, listen, even if you want to laugh, doesn't even have to be about mental health. You want to hop in, You know, go in
Heck
your
yeah.
room and like you guys are all set. It's great. It works out. It's cool. You guys are like
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
but together. You want to hop in and laugh with us? You laugh with us, man. You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
it's amazing. I was looking at our analytics, and we're
Duke?
more males watch our show, but we have a lot of females as too.
It's
Not
almost as
50
much.
50.
Yeah.
It's like 70-30 or like 67. You know what I mean? So
We're big in
and
Oklahoma.
Yes,
big
we
in
are.
Oklahoma.
Woo-hoo!
Our age
Shout
group
out to
is
Oklahoma.
our
All
age group is
right.
like 37-54. So we're right about where I want to kind of be, like, because you know we're older, a little bit older. A 20-year-old's not going to be late right now, really, to what we're saying. They might, but you know, this is more, you know, for a little bit of the crowd that we're going for. So
Demographic. Yeah.
I think,
Definitely.
yeah. So I think the people of that age it can use, you know,
Dude, it's
Marcy's, you know,
Mama
use
Duke
it all,
says, great
guys.
show tonight. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks everybody for
thanks,
who
Doc.
commented,
Yeah.
tuned in.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
appreciated.
And
Yep.
also, also, and then we'll hop off.
This
Leave some
show.
comments, like I always say. Like, subscribe, and comment. Doesn't cost you a nickel, guys. Doesn't
Absolutely.
cost you a nickel. But I want
You
to see
love,
comments. Even if
don't
it's not
cost a thing.
during the show, doesn't have to be during the show. You can comment next week, 2 weeks from now, next month. You know, the videos always stay up. I don't take anything down. You know, so you know, you
Yep.
know, I love answering people back and seeing the comments. You know, it makes it worthwhile. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Actually, Kevin, our buddy Kevin, had a cool little thing. He's saying how well we did with Nick. You know,
Yeah.
because it could
Yeah.
have
that
been a
was a good
touchy
show.
subject, and
That was a
he
great
Yeah.
thought I
show.
handled.
I
He
wasn't
thought
there
we
for that
handled
one,
the
but,
shit. Yeah,
you
he
know,
thought we
had
handled
things going
that
on.
subject was touchy. That was a touchy subject.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
You
got
know,
to finish
coming out like
watching.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
it
not
was
here.
good.
None of us are here to judge, man. We're, you
Fuck
know,
no,
if we can
man.
help,
Fuck
that's
no.
what we want to do. You know, we're
Wash
here to
hands.
entertain, help.
Always
Yeah.
wash your hands.
Always wash your
Wash your
hands, as she always
hands,
says,
like Joe.
Joey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
all
it's a
right,
podcast.
man.
Check me out on
That's it.
Slap the Meat.
Yes, slap the meat.
Absolutely,
Slap
guys.
the
Tune in.
meat. Check out Marcy.
Ghetto
Cooked Up,
Gourmet.
Feeling Proper. Yeah, ghetto gourmet, baby. And that's it. So yeah, thanks again, Marcy, for your time. We
No
really
Thank you,
problem.
enjoyed
Thank
having
you
you
Marcy.
guys
on.
for having
It was
me.
great. It
Thank you
was
so
great
much.
meeting you.
All right,
Thanks
baby.
for
Yes,
coming
it was
on.
great meeting you
I'll
guys
thank
too.
you later.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Whoa! Wait, what?
Yeah. She's like, oh God. All right, guys. Love yous. Love yous all.
Love
All
you
right,
Thanks
guys.
so
man.
much.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
guys.